There we go.
Hello.
Hello.
Welcome to another edition of Strange New Pod. I am your Fleet Admiral and host, Julian Brown, alongside the best bridge crew this side of the most bittersweet cup of coffee. Vice Admiral Eric, Captain Hawk, Sub Commander Giraffe, and Commander MC are all here. My beautiful co-hosts, my beautiful family. Why no fancy intro tonight? Quite simply, we are here to send Star Trek Discovery off the best possible way, that we can. I'm already flustered. It's going to be one of those shows. And to give Eric time to eat his noodles.
And rice cake.
And rice cake. Don't forget about that. So yeah, that means we're going to give this episode all the time that it rightfully deserves. And I just want to ask you guys going into this before we get into it, how we doing? How we feeling?
I need to sleep because I've drove back and forth to LA like 3 times in a few days, so I'm exhausted. But it was all for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You did a great job on your coverage of the red
No, I
carpet.
did no job.
You did.
I just was there.
Yeah, but you did good. And you did
That's
very
more than
well.
any of us can say.
Yeah, exactly.
Well,
But
I want to say thank you to the LA away team who organized that. So thank you.
those guys rock.
Mm-hmm.
I also want to say thank you to Hawk and MC for their awesome and adorable interview with the one and only legendary Doug Jones. That rocked.
That was so fun.
It's so much fun.
If you haven't had a chance, that is the video that we posted earlier this evening. That's got interviews with Wilson Cruz and Martin Green and their interview with Doug Jones. Check that out. It's awesome. Yeah. Wow, guys. This is our second series finale together. Picard and now this. So this week we say farewell to Star Trek Discovery. Did Michael and Starfleet make the right decision with the Progenitor tech? It's debatable for some people. Was La'ak brought back with the Book of the Dead? That's for you, Giraffe. And was Action Saru enough? Did he get the job done? And did the wedding and the show's epilogue give a proper farewell to the Discovery family? We are going to do a deep dive, break it all down. Patrons, Badmirals, you all know who we are. We love you. When we come back from a short break with new episodes, we're going to take like a week or two off. Your names will be read again. We know who you are, but thank you for your support, not only during this season, but for 4 years. Yesterday was our 4-year anniversary, which is freaking wild. Don't understand how that happened. Giraffe reminding us that she was the first member of the Discord.
I've been here the whole time.
The whole time.
Dropout fans unite.
Yay.
I have been and always shall be your friend. Yeah, literally from the beginning. So 4 years. I'm just still computing that. Very, very, very quick news. MC literally is getting in her car after this podcast and headed to check Long Island. I am going to get some sleep. I'm going to drive in after I drop my kids off to school in the morning. We will be there tomorrow. Come hang out. Come say hi to our table. Come say hi to our panels. Our schedule is on our Twitter, on our threads, on our Instagram, on just about everywhere that you can find it. So check that out. It's going to be fun. We're already doing some panels tomorrow night. I'll be on Open Pike's Strange New Worlds panel. MC is going to be on the Discovery panel tomorrow. It is going to be a really good time. And I know a lot of you are headed there now. I believe Chris and Tara and who else? I think there's someone else with you guys are together right now. So fun times. That's the big news. We usually have some other news. Anybody have any other news before we move on with this thing? Because we want to give this episode the love.
We got a lot to talk about.
Oh, my
We do.
God, yes.
We're good. Then a very quick shout out to our amazing friends over at Heroes and Villains, where you can go to heroesandvillains.com and get 20% off your first order using your code STRANGE. That's STRANGE. I think I got that right. All caps. It's yours. Do it. For those asking from Australia and Canada, maybe one day you'll have shipping there. We'll see. We're going to make it work. We'll find out.
Hope.
We
hope.
have shipping. We don't know.
We don't know. We're not in charge. We don't do logistics. Anything else? Good. Well, for the last time, let's boop those personal transporters. and let's get into the strange do loop. So, if there was one thing that you could have added or wanted to add to the epilogue of the Discovery finale, what would it have been and why? And chat are already hopping tonight, and let us know as well.
I got one.
Go ahead, MC.
This is a little bit of a spoiler for those who haven't watched the interview with Doug Jones yet, but we asked him what he thought Saru was going to get up to in the future. And he did mention half Kelpian, half Vulcan babies. And frankly, I would have loved to have seen them do that.
Giraffe almost got her wish. They like were this close to talking about like the mating rituals of Kelpians and Vulcans.
Indeed.
Indeed. Who else has got one?
It's a tough one. Nothing is coming to mind right now.
It is tough.
I think I would have I mean, I know it's a show that looks towards the future, but I would have liked a moment to look back at their past a little bit more. You know, we've all been waiting for a Spock and Burnham, like not reunion, but a little thing like they gave us in Strange New Worlds in season 1. I think that would have been nice to go back to a little bit to the origin of disco and have this little House of Sarek kind of closure.
Yeah,
Could have named the kid Spock.
or even her mom, who's still alive in the future. Right?
Oh yeah, we didn't see Gabriel.
Yeah, we didn't see Gabriel,
yeah. Yeah, that would have been nice. Yeah. Who else? If you're still thinking, I can stall in the chat a bit.
Or Giorgio, right? She was in Toronto filming. She could have.
I think a lot of this. We'll talk about it. I think a lot of this episode was set up for Section 31.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Just a little bit.
Just a little bit.
That would have
By
just
the way,
added more to setup.
I tried to wear that uniform, but they're so narrow. I couldn't breathe, so I'm like, I'm gonna reopen the jacket. Yeah,
I debated, and I'm like, no.
All the Discovery uniforms are ridiculously like close to
they
you.
hug you. They're almost a
Hug
corset.
you.
Yeah.
I cannot zip mine up. It does not happen.
We have some good ones in the chat. Eric the Red, Oo and Detmer's wedding. Yeah, that would have been nice.
Mhm.
Though hinted at that they got married.
Yeah,
They're breathing like you could read their lips that they were very happy.
and I mean, I don't know. I don't read lips, but I'm convinced. Owashikun says we got married or we're married or something like that. She says something like
I need it.
she says something like anybody reads lips in the collective at the end in the epilogue when she reminisces everybody and they're like whole hugging. Owashikun says something and I don't know what she says, but I'm like, she's saying she's married.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
We know it in our hearts.
Yeah, totally. Tyra just goes, what happened to everybody else? I think that's fair. Jess K, the one thing I would add to the epilogue would be seeing more about what the state of the Federation of planets like Navarre and Ferenginar are up to, even if it's just a news report type segment. That would have been nice. I agree. Yum Pod, a great point. I think that we all need to recognize where was Nilsson and her wig. Yeah.
She's on Voyager.
She's busy on Voyager. I mean, she might be captain of Voyager. I feel like she's captain of Voyager.
With Bryce.
With Bryce. Yeah, but Bryce showed up. Was Nilsson in the epilogue? She was, right?
I don't think so.
Remember. I don't think Bryce was
I
either.
think she was.
No, Bryce was.
Was Bryce? I didn't even notice.
Bryce
him.
was there. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, because
Bryce
I
was
screamed,
definitely
Bryce!
there. Yeah.
So, yeah, he was.
Hawk or Eric, you haven't gone yet.
I said Giorgio and
You
the
said
mom.
Georgia and mom. Okay, yeah, that's fair. Okay, I didn't know if that was your real answer or not.
Yeah.
Oh.
The only thing I could have added to that would have been like bring out Jet Reno, incredibly like old in that, but still, you know,
Considering Vance is still alive. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Yep. And speaking of Vance, that's my answer. He had like only a few lines, and then he's like at the wedding with a champagne flute, but like he's our Dadmiral. He's you know, like I love him, and I would have loved to maybe just like, it would have been nice if he also transported aboard Disco and was like, look how far we've come or something before Michael does her whole thing with Zora. It would have just been like, it just would have been nice. I don't know.
So basically, everybody's saying that they want one more season because all you're
yeah.
saying cannot fit in an epilogue.
Well, no, it could if you're Lord of the Rings.
Well, I was telling these
I wanted
guys
the Lord of the Rings Return of the King extended edition epilogue.
they had that.
So
They
another
did.
season.
No,
I mean,
it's
yeah.
like half an hour. Come on. Oh man.
Well, I was telling these guys off air that Variety just released an article with Michelle Paradise saying what season 6 was going to be about. And
Really?
yeah, and it was about
Oh, Draft's gonna be mad.
yeah.
Am I gonna be mad?
It was setting up all of Calypso, like that's what season 6 would have been about.
She's gonna leave.
Oh, bye, Draft.
I want to give you my letter of resignation. Gonna move
She's
over
just
to
gonna give up
another
on Star
fandom.
Trek.
For real? Oh my
Mhm.
god, I would have loved that so much.
It's actually really disappointing that we're not getting it.
Mm.
I really hope that Paramount, like
A
with all their
movie.
struggles, well, right, all their struggles right now, and they're seeing Discovery in the ratings. Like shows have gotten canceled and then renewed again. Like it's not actually that uncommon. So
Yeah.
I mean, The Expanse got one
The
more
Expanse,
season.
it
Exactly.
did.
When it got picked up by a streaming service. I mean,
Exactly.
if only Paramount had something like that, you know,
Some sort of
That's a
streaming
platform.
service.
right?
Paramount stopped canceling the shows that like literally everybody is watching, and the ratings are proving it. Anyway, we're gonna be bitter tonight. Like we all fucking love this show, and
Yeah.
it's
Especially
a
the
sad,
finale. Yeah.
it's a sad day. Oh man, Liz asked a great question, and I wanted to ask you guys, and I think so. I mean, it's getting like to literally the end of the show. But was Sukal at the wedding? I think I did spot Sukal at the wedding.
He had to be
On
there.
the right hand side, there was it was like the only Kelpian, and I think it was Sukal.
But they all look alike.
Yeah, but Sukal looks
That's
like,
racist.
Was he crying? Because that could have been an issue.
Oh,
Well-
that's mean.
I'm sorry.
Hey, it wouldn't be a finale show if we didn't talk a little bit of shit about season 3. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. Does anybody else have anything that they'd like to add to the mailbag? Any other bonus epilogues for the extended cut? No? Oh boy, here we go. It is our review of the series finale. I'm going to just hurt every time I say that. Of Star Trek Discovery, life itself. Our order tonight goes literally full circle. Like we're right at the end. It goes MC, Eric, Hawk, Giraffe. I put myself before Giraffe, which is unfair. I've never done that before. MC, Eric, Hawk, Giraffe, followed by myself.
And with
I just
Giraffe,
wanna
you
say-
coward.
I just want to say that putting me at the end for the Discovery finale means that you're gonna do 3 hours of show. You know that, right?
I do. I think I was expecting to go 3 hours.
Okay. Hold on to your butt then.
Hold on to your butts. No, I mean, hey, I just go how the order goes. The order this is how the order
As long as I'm after Hawk, it's okay.
you're good. You're after Hawk. All things are how they should be. Let's go, guys. We're inside the lab. The episode begins with Michael finding herself in what she thinks is the Progenitors lab. One, within it are just like these crazy. It's like an endless hall, right? Like endless gateways to other worlds, etc. And she accidentally, like almost immediately upon going in there, gets sucked into like a windy, dark, who knows if there's any life on that planet world, fights a Breen and gets back using like hurricane level winds to like get back up into the thing. Only to find, you guessed it, Moll. The two make a very uneasy alliance to find the tech together, and then the opening credits of Disco roll for the last time. From the opening music of this episode, the set design, everything, what did we think about these opening 10 minutes, MC?
The production on it was freaking amazing. Like I loved like the portals. I loved the whole like Burnham getting like really sciencey about the winds and like how am I going to like get myself up? Like it's like like total bullshit, but it's like that kind of beautiful Trek bullshit where it's like, yes, this makes sense to me, where she's like just really smart and can figure out how to, use the physics and everything to get up. That being said, the working with Moll thing seemed to end up being a lot easier than I feel it should have been, considering how Moll has been for the entire season. I don't know. It just felt very easy to me. And I mean, granted, stuff will come up later on. And I mean, I guess I'll bring this up now. I mean, I can also bring it up later. I'm disappointed that we're playing the Progenitor stuff straight. I was hoping that there was going to be some sort of, twist, but apparently not.
Yeah, no, I kind of agree. Let's see. Who is up next? Eric.
I am. When I started watching this episode, when we got the screeners, I was watching it on my iPad because that's the easiest way for me to do it. And I started watching it and I was like, well, fuck. I have to break out the projector because that's how fucking gorgeous this intro was. I just had to watch it as big as it was. And I'm so jealous that you, like, Giraffe, you got to see this on the big screen because we talk about how much how Disco brought like movie quality effects to TV, and this like personifies it. It's like they took the rest of their budget, which they thought they were gonna use for season 6, and they popped it in this episode, and they're just like, let's just do this. The celestial doorways that they had for all these different areas look so pretty that it put Marvel's TVA doors to shame. Like, it was so good. The special effects were so good. I loved again, like MC said, the Michael doing the sciencey thing and being like, well, there seems to be wind here. I'm gonna use the wind to jump up and fly up over there. And I was like, that's so stupid, but so awesome at the same time. And it made me laugh and smile because that's something Star Trek totally would do. That being said, I did think the Moll thing happened really fast. It did resolve really fast. They're like, well, let's work together. Seems like we're stuck here. That being said, I've had like issues with the whole Moll storyline for a while now. So I was like, what else are they gonna do? She has like one driving force, which sort of sucked because I liked her as a character earlier on in the season.
Yeah.
I don't even remember where the 10 minutes ends, but I'll go with yeah. And then seeing the ship. Did we talk about the ship? Because that's in the first.
The ship?
Like Disco also, like they're outside being like, look at all this shit that's happening.
No, this was like all on the thing.
It's all in that one area?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I'll stop there then.
Cool. Where was this comment? Because I thought it was actually really good. Matt Harker wrote, I found Moll a dissatisfying character. It was ridiculous for her to be a potential Kovich recruit. She's a wounded child. I will say I like agree with 75% of that. I think that, like we said, like Moll was a really cool character at the beginning of this. And I think if he's recruiting her what I think he's recruiting her for, I think that could be a really cool setup. And what I'm thinking is that he's going to send her back to work with Giorgio. And I think that combination could be both toxic and beautiful. So we'll see. Who's up? It is Hawk.
I love the intro. The whole impossible room, impossible box kind of feel of it. And that it reminded me a little bit of like what it would have been like for the crew of the Enterprise when they went into V'ger and that, just
oh yeah,
something that is just like it's beyond their comprehension, right? And this is no difference. And yes, it did look it's the seamless way they use CGI in this, and that you it's way better than like a lot of Marvel productions recently. And yeah, the thing with Moll, I kind of got that, it's like, I know she's gotten a lot of flack this season and that, but as a character, I mean, she was smart enough to get this far, right? As far as like the uneasy truths and that, I buy it. That first up, Burnham establishes trust with giving her the dermal regenerator, seeing that she cut her own femoral artery, and then it's like gave her the option. It's like, I know I at least have more information than you. if you don't want to spend the rest of your life here, now, which would have been pretty short considering that they probably would have just starved to death if they couldn't find their way out. Let's work together. So up till I could buy it. And yeah, that's Michael using all angles, and that's what Michael does.
Nice.
And I love the wind trick in that. Yeah, there was gusts of winds like strong enough to blow a person, take a person off their feet and hurl them into the air.
Listen, Star Trek, it's not like Star Trek hasn't done like more stupid things, right? Like Jean-Luc literally flies like a scorpion fighter through Shinzon's dreadnought. Like it is what it is.
We're here for a good time, people.
Exactly. Giraffe.
Okay, first of all, I appreciated that the episode starts right away in the portal and they don't like bullshit us for like 15 minutes, not showing us what's inside, because I was like, what do you mean? So I really like this. I thought the sets were incredible. The play with the light, the moment where she look and sees like that she's in the sky with all the mountains, like that was wild. That not 1 second I thought it was VFX. Like it looks so real, so I don't know, seamless, yeah. And I love the fact that it opens so many possibilities. Like, what are those planets? Where are they? Who's inhabiting them now? Like, what's going on? And the planet with the wind really reminded me of that planet in that episode. Is it called The Enemy? Where
Geordi and the Romulan,
and the Romulan end up being there. It's always night. It's windy. It's like these dark, like rocks. And I was like, and she's stuck there with a Breen. And I was like, if they make another TNG episode, I'm gonna be so pissed. And because the first thing she says is like, we can work together, and he like punches her in the face. And I'm like, yeah, I guess that's not happening. So I like that. I think there was a lot of winks to other planets, like the pink planet really reminded me the planet in Beyond. No, Into the Darkness.
Yeah.
But I think there was a lot of little like Easter eggs, or maybe I'm reading too much into it. But that planet was like literally the one from The Enemy. Like there's it's
a great point.
I love the thing with the wind. Why not? You don't know. The gravity may be low. It's another planet. Whatever. Scientifically, it works. Like for me, because when she goes back to the portal, she says, "Oh, sweet gravity." So I think there was not a lot of gravity on that planet. That's why she was able to jump so high. Anyway, what were we saying? Moll. I actually didn't have a problem with how Moll and Burnham work, because they do get at each other's throat like 3 times in a row. Like Michael kicks her in the knee, then Moll kicks her behind the head. I mean, it's not like we're best pal right away, so I buy that. I'm just disappointed that her motivation didn't change. She's still like so about like, oh, I'm gonna help Locke, I'm gonna bring back Locke, and then she's just like fine with it. I feel the motivation of the characters were too simple and then too short, if that makes any sense. But that opening is perfect because it's right away you get into the thing, right away you see what's up, right away you want to continue and walk toward the light. You need to walk toward the light. So yeah, I liked it.
Nice. For me, and hey Eric, on that subject, let me know if it's still happening as I'm talking.
Okay.
Let me just look at something real quick.
You sound good. You're fine right now.
Cool. Awesome. I love who talked about V'ger. Was it you, Hawk?
Yeah.
Or Eric Hawk? I love that because I think Jeff Russo did something really unique right at like literally the first shot. His score isn't any kind of like rip off or nod even to motion picture, but it has motion picture vibes. It has that mystery. It has a sound that you've never heard from Jeff Russo before. So like, I love that he did that. And you do get that room. It's going to be one of those pods because we have everybody tonight, and I'm going to repeat what people say, but like seamless is also another perfect word. Holy shit, that's set. Like I can't even begin. Like, I don't care about Moll. I don't care about Michael in this situation. Like, it's just so cool looking. Like, we've literally never seen anything like this in Star Trek before. And that was really cool, especially finding out what we find out about like what it is later on, and how old it is. it was just a really cool way to start the episode. And like Giraffe, again, like perfectly said it. Thank God that they weren't like starting the episode on Discovery or at like Fed HQ. And they're just, no, it's like, we're in the portal, damn it. Like, we got to get going. We waited 10 episodes to get to this point. So great first 10 minutes. Go ahead, Giraffe.
I wanted to say, anybody else feels like these things like look very Iconian?
Yes.
Yeah.
And they're portals. So
Thank
that
you.
is Iconian technology.
Right. Okay. So, and I don't know. Yeah, I like that they didn't say anything.
I do too. Yeah.
Because also I've been playing, Star Trek Resurgence, and there's a Ticon Empire also that had like things like that can manipulate like bodies and DNA. But yeah, I was like, that looks suspiciously like Iconian technology. And I think Iconian technology is like, they talk about it in the chase, if I remember well.
I think that they do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's been a while since I've seen it.
So as we continue, shocking that their alliance doesn't last because Michael actually hits Moll first. Like she sees it opening and just like undercut kicks her, which I thought was interesting. But that's Vulcan. That's Michael, the Vulcan hello, right? Like she knows that Moll might double cross her, so boom, knocks her on her ass. But then also tells Moll to stand down. It's like, she started the fight, but you need to stand down now, okay? We're done fighting. They talk about losing someone because Michael lost Book at the end of season 4, even though she got him back. And like that connects and resonates with Moll because of Locke. And the Alliance is back on. They eventually find the interface and the progenitor tech through Michael being a xenoanthropologist and doing what she does best, kind of like figuring the whole thing out and opening to that just beautiful valley, which immediately... Video game players, does that not remind you a little bit about what Elysium looks like in Assassin's Creed Odyssey? Oh, like thought that was really cool. Moll double crosses Michael again and tries to activate the tech to bring Locke back, which almost kills her. This leads Michael to properly activate the tech and meet one of the progenitors through crazy timey-wimey. I know that they explained it, but it's still, we're just going to have to really suspend our disbelief on how it all works. So that progenitor shares the big news that the progenitors didn't build the tech. It's not their technology, they actually think it's like the tech and the tech and the tech and the tech of like, who knows, how far back it actually goes. Yeah, they found it. So there's been this constant kind of cycle of like, who's creating who. What did we think about the big reveal here, MC?
Oh dear. I mean, like I already said before, I wish that I guess we were all saying it's like we want some sort of twist with the progenitors, and we did get a twist. The only thing is they still played it straight. If anything, they kind of even played it straighter because now the progenitors are like, I don't know, this is God's spaceship. I don't know.
What does God need with a spaceship?
It finally answers that
he
question.
already has one.
Michael's, you found him there?
I know.
So good.
It was really good.
I mean, I'm not surprised by what Moll did. Like this was, if they're going to work together, of course, Moll has got a double cross. And I liked Locke, but I was glad they didn't bring him back, that it was kind of something that could not be done. It's like, yeah, we can like clone him, but it's not going to be the same guy. And that's sad. But the thing is, it's like, that's just life. That's just how, Star Trek always tries to find a way out of things. And I think that they could have very easily been like, oh, we're going to bring Locke back and, have Moll have them both go on this redemption arc and it's going to be fine. And I don't think, they're not bringing Locke back. And I don't think Moll is actually going on a redemption arc because I don't think that actually suits where she's going now. But yeah, I wasn't really here for the whole, because I really did feel like it was trying to be like, yeah, this is God's spaceship and we found it and used it.
Fair. Eric.
I love the puzzle. I thought that was really cool. I like the negative space, building the triangle with the negative space. I thought that was really neat way to build it up. As a video game enthusiast, I was like, yeah, this is totally a video game puzzle, and you totally brought that in there perfectly. Moll double crossing Burnham to be like, I got to do this now, really made my brain hurt a little bit, just because Burnham was like, let's make sure this is safe so we can bring him back. And she's like, no, fuck you. I'm going to figure it out. And I was like, nah, God damn it. And then
He's in the buffer.
And then she takes him out of the buffer to hang out outside while she goes and does it. I'm like, why did you take him out?
Deteriorating more. Like, come on,
just
man.
leave him in the buffer. You don't have to rush this. He's in the buffer. There's a reason why Scotty lasted so long. He was in the buffer. Let's see what else is there. Oh, I want to know. It's so funny over there. But the progenitor tech, them finding out that it was something from before. I generally like the idea that the progenitors weren't the creators of everything. I like that aspect of it. I sort of wanted them to go like the Indiana Jones route and be like, we can't figure out what this is. Like we don't know what is this magic? Is this technology? I wanted it to be like more mysterious, and then they're just like, no, this is ancient space technology from MC's God spaceship. And I was like, oh, well, at least they tried something different. And I like that they were just like, the progenitors are the go-to like architects of the universe. That I appreciate, but
Fair. Congressional baseball fan writes, when Moll and Burnham are fighting on the fire planet, I swear the music is straight up Battle of the Heroes from Revenge of the Sith. I'd have to go back and listen because I love that movie and I love that score. So, Hawk.
Yeah, I like the direction they took with it, as far as the progenitors being the creation of something else, who were the creation of something else, and that. I hate to keep mentioning Battlestar, but it gave me a little bit of that vibe, like at the end of it, and that all of this has happened before, and all of this is going to happen again. And that I dig that.
it was weird that they played all along the Watchtower too. That's so weird.
Exactly, it's timeless song.
It's in the fracking ship.
It's in the fracking ship.
As Hawk rocks his best Saltai beard right now.
Exactly.
This was this is refugee camp Saul.
Yeah. Have you seen my eye?
Yeah. And I get why Moll is there in that, because I mean, like, it would have been kind of boring just to Burnham alone going and doing that. I mean, it's the fact that, like I said, yes, Moll is smart enough to get herself there and that, but like her purposes weren't pure. It's like she had one goal in mind and that was just Locke, bringing back what she had, And the fact is that, they could have recreated him in that. They could have given his, they could have recreated his life, but not the life that they had together, because they wouldn't have been able to bring back his memories. Yeah. Then I felt for her. Let's see. And the fact that they were looking for somebody to be the steward, the next one, and that's why the puzzle was arranged that way, and that's why it was designed, that is somebody who's, basically falls on that, how do they do that classification in D&D, and that lawful good or lawful neutral? I don't know. But
I don't play D&D, so I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. Eric, you should have stepped in and helped me there.
Giraffe could have done that too.
Yeah, it's true.
What did I do?
Perception check this failed for you. That's cool.
Oh yeah, 1000%.
But I did like the approach, because it did help take away some of the sting that of the whole thing with the chase, and that it's like, oh, they're our creators, they're everyone's creators, and that it's like, oh, no, they're just a link in a long chain.
Yeah.
So
Gene Kang writes, Shax is somewhere blinking about not being able to come back in the 31st century. He's in the Black Mountain somewhere. Giraffe.
Okay, first of all, that's a huge chunk of the episode. I have so many things to say. Like, I had to take notes. I was like, wait, there's so many things that happened. First of all, the fight between Moll and Burnham, where they go like through the different like portals, was so cool.
Yeah.
Like them going like, changing direction and going, I don't know. I was a sucker for that. I thought it was super.
Didn't Fire Planet kind of give you a little bit of that Kirk versus Christopher Lloyd vibe?
Scrooge.
Yep, from 3.
It reminded me of a Voyager episode, but
That works too.
Yep.
yeah. Anyway, with like the weird like primordial goo that becomes them and
Oh yeah.
makes it
Oh,
a second Voyager.
And yeah.
Because that would be like a cool creation. Imagine.
Yeah.
Like anyway, so I thought the fight was really cool. I don't know who choreographed all that, but that was insane. Them going through planet to planet was really cool. I kept asking myself, how are they breathing? How do they know there's oxygen and like the air is not bleach or like, but apparently everywhere it's oxygen. So we're very lucky. So that's great.
A good answer to your question, I think.
Huh?
I think there's a good answer to that question.
What?
Well, the progenitor tech, like not the progenitor tech, but the progenitors wanted to create all this life throughout the universe that was not exactly the same, but fundamentally the same. So the oxygen thing actually doesn't like.
We know from none that there's like
no, right? I get it. No, I know. I know.
And I thought it would have been cool to see their EV suit deploy.
If they, that would have been cool.
But more money. I don't know. Hire me. I have good ideas sometimes. So I thought it was really cool. I also like how Michael is such in a like I'm gonna solve puzzles mindset.
Yeah.
It's like, and the shadow of the light here, it doesn't make sense. I was like, woman, you were being shot at. Like, how did you notice that? So, I like the hyper vigilant scientist that she is in that she's been since like she's doing that, puzzle thing. It's like these people, you go with them at the escape room and they want to do all the puzzles. Like, do not do an escape room with Burnham, I suppose, or just sit and let her do it. So she finds the thing. It makes no sense, but I was okay with that. Oh, there's a door here. Oh, sure. And yeah, that field of flower was so weird.
It was so cool.
It was cool. I don't say it was bad weird. I say it was just weird. Like, it's interesting that the technology is like kind of an organic technology in itself. Like there's a technology, but like the field is part of the technology. So I don't know. I thought it was weird. They don't even blink at this. They don't even like talk about the flowers. They just go through it. Like sure. The monument to the dead scientist. So there's something I don't understand. I don't get it. How did that person die? Did they die from what happened to Moll?
I think they mentioned earlier in the season that's how they died. They tried to activate the technology and did it wrong and it killed them.
Yeah, but then like they say he died like in a horrible, horrible way. She was just electrified to the thing and then Michael just like took her out. Then it was the end.
But maybe like the scientists weren't near him at the time and didn't take him out and something bad, like really bad happened, right? Like something big was happening if Michael. I actually really wanted to know like what would have happened if Moll stayed, because like dude, there was like energy, like massive.
Yeah, but it was also dragging from things from a black hole. Like these guys could not have been like in their ship just looking at it.
Right.
So I don't know. I was like, I wanted something gory. I wanted some more horror, something like absolutely horrendous. Because I've been thinking about that since they talked about it in Junal. I was like, how did he die? How did he die? So I was curious. Anyway, we will never know, most probably. The triangle thing was too easy. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I agree.
Like when they're like between the many, I was like, yeah, do a negative triangle. And I was like, it's too simple. It cannot be that. Oh, it was totally that. And I'm like, Moll is not that dumb. And she's the only person Michael was like, yeah, she may figure the thing out by herself. Then she can figure that out, but I could. I'm going to call bullshit on that. It was too easy. Like the way to activate their thing is like way too easy.
You've been playing too much Star Trek Resurgence. That's why.
Huh?
You've been playing too much Star Trek Resurgence. That's how you knew how to figure it out.
I don't know. It was very clear.
It was easy. Yeah.
Like even like Michael's like, no. It says between the many, not with the many. I was like, okay, got it. Like, just like do a giant like empty triangle. Come on. So I don't know. I was kind of disappointed by that. I was expecting something a little bit cleverer or I don't know, more complicated. They were so adamant that the person that was gonna be there had to be so smart, and then it was just like basically
A kid
I
could
don't know.
like my 8-year-old probably could have figured that out like in 25
Yeah.
minutes.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I mean, like
and-
the previous puzzles took like full episodes to figure out. So
Yeah.
the fact that this one was just like, you know what? Bup, bup, bup.
You know what? If it happens in like in an RPG, I'm gonna be that cannot be this. That cannot be this too easy.
Her perception was 100%. She rolled a 20, a natural 20
Like,
when she got.
So like these triangles, I was like, okay. I don't know. Do you see this whole portal, like this like insane technology, and the way to activate it is like a bunch of little triangles in plexiglass. I don't know. That was
Future jigsaw puzzle.
I'll play devil's
Yeah.
advocate for 1 second there because I actually agree with you, but you could say that that little triangle puzzle wasn't the activation of the technology, but the activation to say hi to the progenitor, who then would teach you how to actually use the technology. But still,
True.
like, but no, but like your point's still good because you're still just putting a triangle with a triangle to get like the most powerful like power in the universe. So I get that it's like still too easy.
But also there was all this thing about like understanding other cultures and understanding how they think. And then
Yeah.
that has no link with the progenitors, however. And I want to know how the scientists at the beginning figured this out. Because there's such a bunch of triangles. So how did they figure out they need to do a negative triangle with the thing?
Well, the whole thing was about negative space, right? Like, to activating the negative space to be able to contact the mind of the progenitor, and that who was kind of trapped there in that liminal space, and that it was just a
True.
representation of a negative space. Okay,
But
Indiana-
she says also they exist in like different dimensions and so on. Like in the negative space, you can see negative space only if in the dimensions you live in. Anyway,
Yeah.
I was a bit disappointed with that. So sure enough, she like goes into like Vulcan, like I'm gonna think. She figures it out. Good job. And I was kind of glad to see the progenitor. I like also that they're like, I was like, oh my god, she's so tall. And then I remember that Soneko Martin Green is actually so short. But I thought she was like 7 feet tall, and I was like, oh no, that woman is most probably like 5'11".
that was surprising to me too. I thought she was like a good average height, 5'8", 5'9".
Yeah. And I really like the actress. I actually looked her up because I thought she was really good. And her name is, oh, I lost it. Some Kelly something. Sorry, I'm gonna find that again. But yeah, I thought it was really good that the progenitor are like, yeah, we don't know. And I said it at the beginning. I said like, they can't. I hope they're not the one who actually created all like humanoid life. Well, I mean, they did, but I like the question it raises because then they found that thing, right? But they never found anybody else. So what happened, right? And then they did the diversity of life, which is great because diversity is what, it's always been Disco's theme, right? Like diversity, find the other. Like that's what she tells Spock to do, like find the other and go towards them, right? So I thought it was great. I thought it was a good like meaning at the end. I love the little Indiana Jones reference. She chose poorly.
Yeah.
Cracked me up. But the fact that I don't like the fact that they don't raise more questions. Like, so the progenitor found the tech, right? So there were somebody else, right? Like
Yes.
this thing is not or like came out of nowhere. So there were other people, right? And then they're like, oh, we found nobody ever, so we're just gonna multiply and diversify us everywhere in all these planets we found. But very clearly, there were somebody somewhere. And they never ask the question, where the fuck did they go? And
that
also,
was my issue with them destroying the technology, because
exactly,
like Stamets was like, we got to figure out what this is from, and everyone's like, nope, let's just.
And my problem also is that if all these planets existed, and if there were people that created this technology before the progenitors, then what happened to them may happen to you. And we've seen with Control that it was totally something that could happen. We've also seen it in Picard with the admonition and so on, the Jad Vash, right? So they know it's something that can happen. Something can wipe out all living thing. And the only way to bring people back would be that technology, which is what the Progenitor did. But then they're just like, no, we're good, we're fine. Let's throw this into the behind the event horizon. Yep. When Burnham knows herself for certain, because she knows from her mother that kept going to the future and there was nobody and there was nobody and there was nobody. She knows it can happen. So that's wild to me that nobody's asking more questions. Also, I'm telling you, I had many things to say about this part.
No, it's good. Please.
The other thing is that there are two black holes, right? And Tilly says there are primordial black holes. So my theory is that every time you activate the thing, it creates a black hole. Because I think this is what it was doing. It was messing with, the gravity. You remember? All the gravity was like going berserk, like for black hole. So we know it's been activated twice.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we know. That's what I suppose. But like, nobody fucking asks any question. And I'm like, you're not curious? And the only person that can actually explain to you how these things were created, primordial, so like as old as the universe. So maybe it was something before the universe. And they're just like, no, we're good, we're fine. Bye. And that, I felt Stammet to my core on that, but we're trying to talk about this after. Let me see. Yeah, I was agreeing with Jean also, like, Star Trek brings back people. Like, they fucking brought back Spock. And they're like, people can be brought back.
Yeah.
He's not a main character.
He's not a main character. Yeah.
Oh, man. So I might be kind of the outlier here. Like, one, to go all the way back, like, I think the fight was also really badass. I also like just like little moments of like typical, like, I don't know, pirate bad guy, like, weapons first. Also, I know you have that knife in your boot. Also, that other knife behind your back, and that one, and that one, and that one, and that one, and that one. I thought that was cute. I really I already made the Assassin's Creed reference. Like, I really liked how the main room of the whatever we're calling the technology now, because it's not the progenitor tech. We keep also making like references to video games. I really liked this because it reminded me in a less depressing way of Mass Effect and the Reapers.
Yep.
And how they keep basically seeding the universe with life to then harvest it, right? This is a little bit more light because they're seeding life just to have life, but it's that idea again, and going back to Battlestar 2, that this has happened before and it'll happen again and it'll happen again and it'll happen again. Got to agree with Giraffe. I think it's the right decision at the end of the day to get rid of it, because you do have big bads that we haven't heard from in the 32nd century. Like, I know that the Borg are done and gone, and after Picard kills the Queen, and I guess the Klingons are all dead too, because we didn't see a single one in any Discovery season 3.
Oh, that's something we should have said at the Strange New Loop.
Could you could you recreate the Klingons, maybe progenitor tech, please? Bring them back. The Romulans are pretty much good guys now, but like, had them
take that back.
They have plans.
Not the Tal Shiar. But, like, if DeHaul did decide to, like, I'm sure she could find her way there if she wanted to. There are powers out there that would take advantage of this technology, and they see that possible future. So I do think they make the right decision. So, like, who makes his decision to basically be like, we will send a science team in for like so and so amount of time, but like at the first sense of trouble, we're going to throw it into the black hole. As much as I want like questions answered, I think with something that powerful that could be that devastating, as curious as I am, and the whole point of Star Trek is that curiosity, throwing that thing in a black hole without asking more questions, I think is actually still very much the right decision. Like, I'm happy I had my little like tiny life and not knowing where I came from. Like,
it's also narratively the good decision, because then they just let the door open for anybody to write anything they want, and they also got rid of the fucking progenitor, so there is not these like ghost of things behind us that they made us, and that was very good. But she could have learned how the thing functioned at least, I suppose. Yeah,
I guess. Goes, Michael almost got the Mass Effect 3 ending. Oh boy.
Which one?
Which one? Which of the 3 bad endings would Michael have gotten? But it did remind me of that. I liked it. And I actually got ahead talking about like the decision to do it. So let's talk about that. And this is gonna also, I'm debating how to play this real quick. If we're gonna do this kind of in 2 questions. No, we're gonna do this in 1 question. So ultimately, during this conversation with the progenitor, she asked Michael like, "What's like the most meaningful thing like now?" And in the sense that like creating a diverse group of species throughout the universe was theirs, leading Michael to make the decision not to do it because she's like, "I've been thinking about that a lot lately." But she decides, not to use the tech and hide it. They say destroy it, but like, could it technically be retrieved from the event horizon of a black hole?
Like it's in the Kelvinverse.
It's in the Kelvinverse now. Okay, so
it travels through time. It's somewhere else now. It's somebody else's problem.
That's Star Trek 4. There we go. We have our movie. So she makes a decision not to use the tech and hide it once again. Or destroy. I guess they did destroy it. I think we all agree though that was the one and only choice to make. I think we've all kind of said that. We could go in order real quick. I don't want to spend too much time on it because I'd rather spend time on the video of Sonequa that we're going to play and other stuff, but we can go in order and talk about it real quick. MC.
Yeah, because they've already made enough changes to the Star Trek universe.
Yeah. Yep.
It makes sense that they destroyed it. I feel for Stamets who wanted to study it because I understand it wasn't just for him. It was for, everything that happened before, especially since they don't know about anything before, like Giraffe said. Like, how could you find out that one thing and not be like, I want to know more? I understand his pain. Yeah.
He needs a project.
It's for his legacy. That scene cracked me up. When he was funny. Like, I never talked about my legacy.
Yeah. Hawk.
Yeah, still the best decision because the fact that they barely got it in their possession in the first place, and that is, and the fact that people just more of the Breen were hearing about like a battle going on there. It was too dangerous just to have in the here and now, and that because there have been too many interested parties coming for it, and that. And as they said, this as Michael said, this thing could build an army for anyone, instantaneously. So. In the here and now, yes. Is it destroyed? I don't know. It's beyond the event horizon of the black hole. That doesn't mean it's gone.
Agreed. Yeah.
But then if it's not gone, you don't know where you sent it, which doesn't solve your problem to start with. So I like the fact also that I think it's just the archaeologist in me. They know that there are in Star Trek, there's always these people before us, Voyager always stumble on things that are hundreds of million years old, and nobody wants to figure out who were these people, and that's really pissing me off. They're date the thing. Why aren't they dating it? Just date it. There's a bunch of things I feel that as much as Michael have shown so much curiosity about things, there's a sudden lack of curiosity that is pissing me off because I'm very curious about it. And also throwing it through the event horizon. Yeah, they couldn't do anything else, but it doesn't tell you that they're not giving it to somebody else. And now there's no clue. I don't know. I think
they gave it to the Klingons. Decision. That's why it's not that they're not there anymore.
it's the best decision somehow, but in the story, like narratively and storyline, I think it's the best way to do it. But also, I feel that they didn't feed me at all on this.
I have a theory.
Is it bunnies?
What if it's a stable time loop?
Oh, yeah.
What do you mean?
What if by going through the black hole, it goes back in time, and that's how the progenitors find it?
I like it. I like it.
So basically, the tech never comes from anywhere.
It's interesting.
I don't like
That's a good
this.
one. That's a
It's
I don't like. I don't like
it's
it.
hurting my brain. I don't like it.
It's very Star Trek.
It is.
No, but it's also a kind of way to like bullshit their way if we're not explaining it.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what they've been doing all season.
True.
So I want to, before I forget, and because I had a good segue here, like Giraffe was talking about how, you know, it like with how curious Michael's been this season, like it didn't give you enough at the end. But I think that Sonequa Martin Green, during my interview with her at the premiere, actually talking about her own faith and kind of like what Star Trek and being on it has meant to her, actually kind of like, I don't know, it hit it. I want to play this clip for you guys and then talk about it, because I know that Giraffe has a lot that she wants to say about it as well. So let's play it. I'm going to share my screen. We are going to go. Why is that not there? That's concerning. There we go. I don't even share my sound. We're going to go here. And are we good, Eric? Is it the right thing?
Do we need to mute?
Oh, no. You can mute. Yeah, if you want to mute for a minute. Yeah. All right, here we go. I'm going to start this thing.
How God has blessed me with this, being able to be an example in, this is what I believe. I believe that the principles of Trek are really the principles of Christ. That unconditional love, that understanding of someone's intrinsic value, that loving someone because of their differences, that unity, that diversity, that infinite diversity and infinite combinations. To me, I mean, my goodness, and I always wanted to exemplify Christ. I always wanted to follow his example of being the greatest leader is the greatest servant. And I slipped and tripped and fell and made mistakes just like Burnham. But he gave me this, and he taught me through the story, through the people that I got to tell this with. Hey, you're on a journey too, and you don't have to fight to be worthy.
So I shared this clip with Giraffe because I was debating about how much of the interview to put in, and specifically this conversation with Sonequa. And I know that you had a lot to say and wanted to talk about on the pod, so I'm kind of going to start with you.
I mean, I was like, I thought, you know, sure, if you just throw that on the internet, people are gonna be,
Yeah, right.
But on the other hand, I know that it made me think. I mean, I'm the least religious person on earth. Maybe not on earth, but like I've not grown. I'm not religious at all. I admire people who have faith, and I do think that I have faith on, like, I know the feeling of faith, but I don't believe in religion. But it was very interesting to me that she would make these parallels. I also don't have a lot of like religious friends. I mean, I don't know you guys.
I do have. So. I mean, I have. Yeah, no, I do have religious friends. Which, yeah.
But the thing that like was more interesting to me is that
I have religious family.
I know the Star Trek tiptoes around the question of religion a lot. Especially sometimes they tell you there's no religion in the future. Sometimes they tell you no, there's religion in the future. Sometimes they mix up culture, religion, and race. So it's always very nebulous, and I feel that they're tiptoeing a lot around it. But I mean, we know that Sonequa Martin Green also is a person that like had to go through insane grief, and I think it educates her the way she embodies Michael Burnham with her own grief and her own faith and her own belief in like wanting to know. And I think it was interesting because what I told you is like, well, if all Christian were thinking that, maybe it would be
I know it's a great point. Yeah.
thinking that like the principle of Trek are the principle of Christianity. I'm like, listen, I'd be maybe myself even more religious if it was the case. But the question of, tripping and forgiving yourself. And when she was talking, I was like, oh, I mean, I went to Catholic school. I don't know you guys, but I did go to Catholic school, so I know my Bible. And it's true that if you take like the principle of religion, there's like this question of forgiveness, right? This question of like trying to get back, question of community, the question of respecting others and love your neighbor, And it was interesting to have. For me, it made me think. I like when things make me think. I don't necessarily agree with her, or I don't think she's necessarily the only path to interpret Trek, but I thought it was interesting that in this fandom you have so many people reading this principle of Star Trek that we all know well in a way that helps them embody them. And I thought it was interesting to discuss about it, especially in a season that speaks about purpose, because that's at the beginning we're like, it's a lot spiritual, it's very around faith. I don't know how I feel about that. Remember the first episodes, and then it switched to the idea of being kind to yourself and also like choices. And I thought it was interesting. So I was also, if she felt that she had to say that at a microphone, I was like, maybe we should talk about it. I don't know. It's not every day we can interview Sonic or Martin Green.
Well, so right, like, and what's interesting to me is like what I all of a sudden have something to talk about it was what you were saying about like how like Burnham didn't really want to, maybe she did, but she made the decision to just like get rid of it. But like, I feel like not Michael, but like Sonequa Martin Green, like would have stayed there and like asked questions, like after hearing like what she had to say about like her faith and the parallels to, like Star Trek's ideals. I don't know. I find it really interesting. Does anybody else want to touch on this?
See, and that's why nobody wants to touch that thing. That's why I was like, we should talk about
it. When I went to a Catholic school as well as Giraffe, and I think Hawk also raised his hand. And I think the best thing my religion teacher told me in grade 10 was, don't take the Bible word for word. Be a good person, like it says. Like, be a good person, and treat people like you think Jesus would. Like, he was a cool dude. He went for the people who didn't, that didn't go with the norms of society or whatnot. And I like the idea that she found some sort of connection with her faith and this journey, and growing through this, and like growing through faith and growing through like, it's such an interesting parallel that she brings to this. And like, Captain Burnham is one of the most deep captains out of all of Star Trek. And the fact that she brought this to that is amazing. And you can tell how deeply she's connected to her faith and through the show just by how she's acted throughout the last 5 seasons that we've seen her. Like, that's amazing. Like, and yeah, I like the idea that people can find faith in sci-fi. I think that's neat. I think that's really cool. Do I find it? I don't know. Sometimes I don't know how. I don't know where I am in my religious life. Right? Like, you grew up Catholic, like so many other people, and you just like.
That's the thing with me. It's like, when Giraffe and I were talking to, like, and I think it's pretty public knowledge, like Sonequa Martin Green's been through like a lot, like tremendous loss. She's lost, I think, believe both of her parents in like a short amount of time.
Mm-hmm.
2 days.
One after,
so,
yeah.
Like, that'll make you find God quick,
Yeah.
Like me losing my mom and having some stuff happen to me, like when I was younger, made me completely like abandon Judaism, right? Like, I was like pretty into it as a kid, and then like a certain amount of things happened that made me just kind of like lose my faith and lose my belief in God. And to this day, like, I don't believe in God. I do believe like the progenitor tag, right? Like, I believe in something. I believe
The gospel of the progenitor.
and I really love the traditions of Judaism. Like I still love the traditions of it, but I don't look at them like when I'm taking part in those traditions as me like doing it to serve God. Like it's just me being a part of a community. It's not about like the religious aspect for me.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Yeah, Huck. You're muted.
You're muted,
sir.
Censorship.
My God, I'm still muted from the interview. So yeah, same. I was raised Catholic, and as far the traditions were fine and that, but you know what? It was always the people growing up, and that it's like there was never anybody in the Catholic faith that was like, I admire that person. That no, I kind of hated all of them because their religion was their view of religion was like to just beat it into you, and that it reminds me of like a line from an old Saturday Night Live skit, and that it's like, I love God, but he hates me. And that was the Catholic religion growing up for me. Like, never really, it's like they talk about the love of Jesus, but they never really put it into practice. I find like people in other branches of Christianity were way better at doing that, like back when we
I don't
started.
know. There are jerks everywhere. Let's be
There are
honest.
jerks everywhere.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't really know the point. And it's like that thing about taking it verbatim and that, it's like, I know people take the Bible verbatim and that, but it's because they don't really seem to know the history of it, and especially the New Testament. Here's something I learned years ago that really kind of put into perspective for me. The story about Jesus and that, drawing the line in the sand and said, who is ever without sin cast the first stone, was not that story was never in the oldest versions of the Bible. It kind of showed up sometime in like about the time they started transcribing the Bible, and they actually think
We're going in full theology class now.
I know. They think it actually might have been the scribblings of a bored monk, and that it's because the monks in that who had the talents to actually translate ancient languages, and that that was all they did was transcribe all day long, and that so. That story might have actually just been fan fiction.
I'm glad you said it because I was about to.
Say it.
Yummy Pod brings up a great point, which I agree with. I don't mind when a piece of media explores themes through a spiritual lens. It's a perfectly valid way to tell a story. Babylon 5 is one of my favorite shows and does that all the time, which is a great point. And I'll also just go watch Battlestar Galactica. Like, holy shit.
Yeah.
Like that show is one giant religious undertone. Like it's insane, and it's an
Deep
amazing
Space
show.
Nine.
Or Deep Space Nine.
Yeah.
Deep Space Nine, yeah.
Yeah. I was just to talk about this from a slightly different perspective. Star Trek has notoriously been very much shying away from religion because Gene Roddenberry was just insanely atheist, did not want religion anywhere near Star Trek, and that was something that was very controversial about Deep Space Nine, is that the fact that they dealt with religion so much. And I think that whatever you believe in, like while Sonequa Martin Green is comparing it to her own religion, I don't feel like anything she's really saying is something that is specific to one religion. I think that it is more about faith than it is religion, which is a very different thing. And I think that's something that we should not shy away from in Star Trek, because faith, religion, this is all stuff that is, no matter how you feel about it, it's a huge part of the human existence, and is something that when they kind of shied away from it in Star Trek, or when it was always, always done as mockery of it, basically, where it's just like, oh, this, religion is actually, an alien who is,
What God wants
a
with our
really bored
spaceship.
God or something. Yeah. And
Strange energies.
yes.
Or justice.
And I think that Star Trek, with Deep Space Nine and now Discovery, I think it's the first time there's been any sort of playing with it, and I like that it's taken more seriously now than it was before.
Yeah. Agreed.
And speaking of faith, like I'm not at all into like tradition and religion. Like I don't like making a tree or doing like I don't like having to do things. Contrary to you, like the tradition is not at all like something that I would like to have. But I'm really interested in like belief. Like I feel like Star Trek has really felt I'm gonna sound absolutely insane, so bear with me. But I feel like Star Trek has really filled the need for spirituality that every human have for me, because it gives me value that I believe in. It gives me lore and like stories that I can talk about, that makes me think, that make me uh, discuss my place in society, my place amongst human, my hope for the future, makes me also strive to be better and also to, bring in a future that I do think we can achieve. So yeah, we all need spirituality, and I do think that Star Trek, with all the values, I know it sounds a bit insane, but like all the values and all the stories that it brings us, like of examples of like people to try to be not like the weird episodes of Star Trek, but the ones I'm speaking about. They do make us think about our human experience and where we fit, and that's why I thought that the way she was relating Star Trek to religion was actually a very good interest, a very things that somehow resonated with me, even if I'm not Christian.
Yeah. I'm glad that I sent you that video and that we did this tonight, because I think it was a really interesting topic, and like we've kind of just been talking about it all season, because this season did have like those religious undertones, and I thought it worked really well, for better or for worse. Eric, yes, I will clip it and I will post it for sure. Back to your regularly scheduled Discovery review. Number one, doing number one things. Can't have a finale without. Gonna do that again. Can't have a finale without big action set pieces, and we get Rayner to do that those fun things, and so he and everyone on the ship are doing everything in their power to give Michael the time to like figure out what the hell all of this is while fighting the Breen. From leading a bunch of Breen fighters into a gas cloud and igniting it with torpedoes, sending Book and Hugh in a shuttle to keep the portal in place, which I thought was, we'll get there, to finally separate. Dude, we got to see Discovery do a saucer separation, like achievement unlocked. They separate the saucer to spore jump the Breen dreadnought all the way to the galactic barrier, which is like the biggest fuck you move ever in Star Trek. I think it was so petty and brilliant at the same time. It's like level
not even
10.
The Delta Quadrant.
It was so good.
Right.
It was so good.
It was level 10 pettiness. What do we think about the big action set pieces for the series finale of Discovery, MC?
Okay, so I mean, I was the whole Michael pod. I have been kind of a little iffy on everything so far, but this I fucking loved almost all of this. There's like a little bit in here, and it's probably the exact same thing that Julian is not too sure about. But this was awesome, because I mean, like, they need to get everybody involved in what's going on, because it's the finale. And I mean, even if they didn't know it was the series finale at the time, it was still going to be the season finale. So you need to have a little bit from everybody. And I think they did a really good job of doing that. Rayner was, I mean, we've been singing his praises all fucking season, and it just kind of very much culminated here. And just what they did with the saucer step, and because I mean, like they could have easily did a saucer separation just for any other reason, but the fact that they did it to do like this wacky, like insane, really spore jump of the Breen. I mean, just they had to do something like just big and ridiculous, and do something. This is. Only Discovery could have done this, because only Discovery has the spore drive. So it's such a wonderful thing that they actually give a reason for like Discovery to be like the ship that actually comes through in it, and instead of like the whole thing on Star Trek where it's usually like it's the only ship in the area, which I guess in a post-burn time might make sense. But no, they made a really unique story for Discovery, and just like the igniting the gas cloud was just it was again kind of like with Burnham like doing like the space jump on the ship. It's one of those like wacky like Trek where it's like I don't know if this really makes sense, but damn it, it's awesome.
It was basically I don't know if it was an actual Easter egg, but I'm 99% it was actually the Riker maneuver from Insurrection. Like no bullshit. I'm like 99% sure what that was, except that they didn't disperse the gas from the nacelles. So like that was the other, like they already had the gas, but they still ignited a thing. So I'm like, oh, it's the Riker maneuver. Anyway,
I modified Riker maneuver,
yeah,
Troy, if you will.
Yeah, Troy. Yeah, there you go.
I mean, Riker,
Yeah,
Riker.
you know Rayner
Riker.
had to study Riker.
The Riker maneuver.
Yeah. Oh, sorry, you weren't on MC. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I mean, like the one thing I wasn't too sure about was the whole shuttle part, because it seemed like they needed to have Book do something different because we need to have him do something, and we don't really know what to have him do other than like worry about Michael. And then I could see where they were going with the whole Hugh thing, and the I remember this from being joined with that Trill. But it was just like was this seemed like it fell flat for me. Just like my discussion of it.
No, it was great. No, your discussion of it was great. I'm laughing at his comment. Riker only ignites his own plasma. He won't do it to someone else's. That was really good. Eric, your turn.
I really like the Book and Hugh stuff. I know it's a little weird, but I like that Hugh's uncertainty of his. I don't know if I want to use the word faith, but how his purpose moving forward led to this moment. And I loved seeing the look on his eyes when he got to that moment and he was like, this is why I'm here. And I was like, oh, fucking Hugh, such a... I loved it. I love that moment. He had a shirt on, whatever, that could easily be CG'd out. I like that he knew his purpose, or he knew he had to be there to help out. I thought that was really cool. Rayner and the rest of the crew, when they did the gas cloud thing with the ships, I thought of Galaxy Quest when they brought all the mines and then blew up the ship with that. And I was like,
1,000%.
And I was like, yeah, that's awesome. And how amazing is it that where Rayner started to where Rayner ended up at the end, like his trust in the crew and the crew's trust in him was so good, and it hurts my soul that we don't get to see this moving forward. It just hurts it so much because he's such a good addition to this crew and would have made an amazing season 6. Season 6 would have been so sick.
Oh, it would have been insane.
That being said, the spore jump was so awesome. It was so cool. And that's why I'm so happy that I popped up the projector to watch this, because God, Giraffe, I'm so jealous of you to see that on the big screen.
That was wild. That was wild.
Even just in the surround sound, like I finally got to watch it with surround sound today. I was like, oh my God, the sound mixing is so good. It's so good. And it has that silence, that little bit of silence. So you're just like, oh, goosebumps. And you're just like, fuck, it's so good. Did I miss anything? I can't even remember what I was saying. I really like you normally something in the B plot or the C plot is just like, it's all. I really liked all the plots in this finale, which is strange. Yeah. And this, I can't even think of one being better than the other ones because each of them was so good. And I really liked seeing the crew gel. It makes me sad that Oo and Detmer were part of this action sequence. Because, Detmer would have fucking kicked ass in this. But I like the new crew too.
I know that
they're having a very long honeymoon.
A very long honeymoon. And I really love the new crew, and I've been like the biggest poo-poo on all the people who've been like, oh my God, we're Oo and Detmer. Sorry, not sorry.
First of all, they're all hot women.
Yeah, they are.
Hot brown women. I'm here
they
for
are,
it.
but there's even more hot brown women like on the bridge now. Like,
Oh yeah, that's what I meant.
Oh yeah. Now they're great. Like they're wonderful. But the one thing I will agree on is that Detmer couldn't be there for a saucer set.
Right?
Like that's
She's
the one.
getting
Like
laid.
but she's getting laid on the Enterprise. Yeah.
That's the scene that we should have had in this. It's like when they get back, Detmer is just like, "How dare you do a saucer set without me?"
Literally not even that. You just have like this whole big fucking battle happening, and then all of a sudden, meanwhile, in deep space, and they're just in like one of like the quarters and like under the covers.
No. It's from the outside, and you see the window, and you just see a hand.
Hand in steam. Oh my god. We finally reached the point, folks.
I want to know what the hell is going on.
Exactly.
Oh god.
I'm surprised it took us that long.
You're not wrong.
I mean, it's not a very silly episode. Let's be honest.
It's really not. There's not really any comedic beats in this episode. Eric, were you good?
I can't add any more.
Snorted. Hawk.
I won't say too much on this, but Book and Colbert and that. Okay, yeah, they were there. They had something to do. Check. Okay, the gas cloud thing. I knew that was coming, and that when they like lead them through and then light it on fire, and that and proves one thing to me, that the Breen are fucking idiots because they fell for it. But come on, this has got to be known as the Rayner maneuver from now until the end of time, and that, because that was probably my favorite part of the episode, especially like how with Michael's monologue and that, about like change occurs, love, all that stuff, but like how it's kind of did that slow motion shot of him on the exploding, with all the fireworks and everything going on the ship, and then his like and just it was the best action piece I've seen this season, and like can your pathway drive do that? Huh? No.
Tara's gonna make a lot of enemies in the chat right now.
Okay.
I was exactly gonna type what Jambad just wrote. I think they're just roommates.
Oh my god.
Is it me?
It's
you.
Yeah. Okay. So the first time I watched it, I was like, that shuttle thing is so dumb. I have no clue what the fuck they're doing out there. Like, you're gonna tell me that ridiculous little shuttle is holding that freaking portal with a tractor beam between two black holes. Like, I didn't buy it for a second. I was like, okay, they needed Book to do something during this season. So, but I understand him being like, I want to be out there. I understand the drive, like I need to do something. I cannot just be here. So, fair enough. Then the Colbert thing, at the beginning, this is so dumb. So that guy has been having a hunch like for like 6 episodes, being like, there's something. But in retrospect, I think it's kind of interesting because Jinal didn't have to tell him. And what I think is that Jinal actually really liked him, really liked them, thought they were actual like very interesting people. And he left that memory in Hugh because he knew that they were going to maybe need it. And that's something that they didn't figure out on time. And maybe that's why the scientist died or something like this. So I think it's kind of like that's how I interpret it. Okay. Like, it's a present from Jinal to Hugh, and he has had this thing in him that has been bothering him, right? It's like he couldn't understand what it was that, made him feel different. And I think it's just that knowledge that Jinal left in him for that moment. So it's kind of cool that he was here and it was able like to get it out and to be like, and that was what I felt I had to do. Because he was explaining in Jinal that, he was there, but he was not there. So it was not I don't think it's conscious that he knows that. He doesn't consciously know that. So I thought it was like kind of and because I like Jinal. I would have loved to have more Jinal.
Yeah.
I think that dude was so cool. So I like
Yeah.
that he left them a little present like that, like to be like,
All right.
save your people, because I couldn't save all my people. So maybe with that you'll go faster and you'll be able to save them. So I don't know. I choose to see it like that because I thought it was cool. I really like the whole science process that cracked me up with Stamets and Adira, because they're like, you can't do that. I mean, and then Tilly, that's not possible unless, and which is very,
Maybe.
that's the scientific research, right? You're like, there's something impossible, but if you move this thing around, maybe. And I like to, see their eye go like from, I thought it was really fun, especially Tilly. And the fact that they basically do science magic in like 10 seconds in a ship that is blowing up. They like modify the shield of a shuttle for them not to die. And I thought there was so much humor. That's where really that piece of the episode was so funny, when they're like, well, and then you'll die. you know, like what happens? Like it can stop the radiation, but then you'll still die. And I love the little nod of like, I'm a doctor, not a physicist. In the theater, everybody cracked up and clapped at that line, because I was like, that's a nice touch. That's a very nice touch. The saucer separation was absolutely wild. I love the side eyes of the crew when he says we're gonna do that, and they're like, okay then. We may all die. I thought it was so ballsy. I thought it was so insane. And I also like, again, this like insane maneuver of Starship that we've seen in this season, like between like the Avalanche episode, between last episode where like they ram into the Dreadnought, this one where they do the saucer separation. I mean, it's stupid, but it's also epic. Like I'm here for this. And I like that all these things are like with Rayner, he's bringing the cowboy diplomacy, like the insane, like let's do something absolutely dumb. But at the same time, he was, when he started thinking about it, it's the Avalanche.
Thank you.
And
Yes.
and the fact that he's able like to like go back to that moment and to be like, I'm grown, I'm in such a short time. And also for a guy that is, I'm sorry, but like an old guy. I like but he is. And like a lot of people when they start at certain age, like are like, I don't have to learn anything anymore. I'm made, I will never change, which is not true. And I like the fact that dude is like, no. A few months ago I fucked up. What did I learn from that fuck up? That, and now I'm not gonna fuck up again. And I really like it. That be like Captain Rayner. I'm sure that guy goes to therapy. Go to therapy. Yeah. So I love this. I thought it was grand. And on the big screen, fucking amazing.
I can't be that jealous. I got to see the premiere on the big screen, so it counteracts each other. As Giraffe put it last night, I'm gonna mainly just speak about my man crush.
It was like, your man crush is here. He's just next to me.
And I said to Giraffe,
wasn't in this episode.
Which one? I have many. So I just love that. Like, I love that Rayner's journey in this episode. Like, his whole story comes full circle via his dialogue, and I love when that happens. Right when he is standing there and thinking, he's like, "It's the planet, it's the avalanche, like it's all happening again," which was a bit of a Cylon moment, because he's a Cylon. I just really loved it, and when he's coming up with the plan and he's talking about dying, he's like, no, it doesn't work. Like, I got goosebumps like there's so many other things in this episode that can give you goosebumps. When he said, well, if it doesn't work, good crew. I appreciate the trust. I was just like, oh, like, it's beautiful. It's such a big moment for him because like, and this is again, like what's pissing me off. It's like this crew, this iteration of Discovery this season really got going. And like, I felt like with him in these last moments, like it hit his stride. And then to have the ultimate spore jump of pettiness happen, which is just so beautiful and awful. And oh man, I did get verklempt, Dave, because like I've been singing Callum Keith Renee's praises all season. I think he was like such a great addition to this show. Not many actors can come into a family that's already established like this and have the kind of performances that he's had, and he did it flawlessly, in my opinion. I think he's the best thing about this season. So I loved it. The action was great. I actually have not really gotten to enjoy the episode in surround sound yet. Like, I had it on the background, but I was doing pod work and real life work today, so I kind of just was glancing at it. I watched it twice on the screeners, which they don't give you surround sound for, so you know, first world problems. It was just awesome. The action was awesome. I don't really want to talk about the shuttle stuff because like I don't want to poo-poo anyone who enjoyed it. It just like didn't work for me. It just helped, like it just seemed like an addition, but like it worked for some people. That's great. I think like the action was with Rayner and doing the Riker maneuver and all that fun shit. The action was awesome. So, speaking of action, Saru. He and Naan, they take a shuttle to intercept Primarch to Hull using the pathway drive, which Congressional Baseball fan brought up a great point earlier. Is like, did Starfleet just now 800 years later figure out transwarp drive and they just gave it a fancy name? Because that's what it seemed like in this episode.
It looked like warp. It looked exactly like warp.
No, it looked like warp except faster. So transwarp drive.
Yeah. I think they renamed it because like transwarp is so like associated to bad stuff. So
yeah,
like,
we're
gonna rebrand.
And they'd have to call it Lizard Baby.
the lizard baby drive. Here it is.
Lizard babies.
My God, this audio is like what, like 3 years old.
3 years old. Yeah, it's true. It's true. So yeah, they do that whole thing. So they take the shuttle to intercept Primarch to Hull so that Rayner and co don't get like just destroyed by the Breen, because that's what would have happened. Using his season 2 post Vahari "Don't fuck with me" voice, he diplomacies his way into having to Hull just stand down, and the two go and help with what's left of the fight, basically, in just like an awesomely acted scene by Doug Jones. What do we think about this being kind of like the final mission for Saru, MC?
I need to fan myself, like, seriously, of all of the things. And I love Saru. I love Saru so much. And this was the perfect use for him because, I mean, there's been all of this talk about action Saru and everything, but this is where Saru is really good. Him intimidating people, just being like, like the badass ambassador, because I mean, he's doing nothing but talking to them. Like, that's how he's intimidating them. And it's just, I'm just going to say it. It's fucking hot. It's really hot. And I like that Naan was there. It was like that we're getting her back for, I know it's not, they didn't actually know it was going to be the series finale, but getting her into the series finale. Yeah, no, I like seeing Saru being badass, and it in a way that is not just him just like beating up people, because that's not Saru. This is Saru, and this is what he's going to be doing for the next, however long Kelpians live, which I don't think we actually know how long they live. He's just going to be like the badass ambassador who goes and threatens people, and I'm here for it.
Cowboy diplomacy.
That's right. Eric.
I love this. I loved it so much. I loved how awesome Doug Jones, like his dialogue was so sick. His delivery was so perfect. I loved how smart Saru was. Like he didn't like right away do something. He thought about it. He's like, this is the information we need now. What do we do? I thought that was so smart. Like we've said for every single Star Trek episode, when there's a lot of talking and like smart talking, that's like peak Star Trek. And Saru using his background was just so smart to get the upper hand on the Breen. Like, well, we know that you have a base over here, like, because you would have wanted this trade route and whatnot. You're like, fuck, he's so smart. He's so awesome. And then he's like, I'm Kelpian. We're predator. We're predators. We know what we're doing. Do you see fear in these eyes? And you're just sitting there like, for someone in so much makeup, like to get that expression perfectly off, like, God, Doug.
Could we take like a second to just like give mad love to Alchemy Studios and Glenn Hetrick and help me, someone, Neville Page, because like the work that they've put in, not just for Saru's makeup, but like this entire series, to be able to make makeups like that emote, like holy shit. Like
Locke's makeup and Saru's makeup are so well done that you could get so much expressions off these actors under like layers and layers of latex. It's incredible. That being said, Nan was there and she was, yum yum.
Indeed, Hawk.
I don't know what else to say. I mean, like Saru has been that character in Star Trek. There's always that one defining character in each series in that, right? Spock for TOS. I'll say Data for TNG and that, but it's like they're supposed to kind of represent the other, but at the same time, kind of like they show us more of our own humanity than some of the characters that are actually human in this series and that. And with Saru, it's been this incredible kind of like character arc since season 1. Seeing him at this moment is like kind of the full completion of that arc, because he's out there without, as I asked Doug Jones, like he's out there without the usual support structures of his disco family and that. He's nobody to rely on except himself and his own wits and that, and he brilliantly outplays them. It's not just diplomacy, it's poker and that. It's the kind of diplomacy that pretty much prevented like World War III back in the 60s, isn't it? The threat versus reward kind of thing. But yeah, you can even under all that layers of makeup, even under all those the contacts and that, you can feel that intensity coming from him, and that we're predators and that. It's like, you want to fuck with us? Come on, give it a shot. Love Doug Jones. Him especially, I'm going to miss. As the series concludes.
He's in so many other things.
I know, but
I
like
can see him everywhere.
This is that one where it's like you got to see more of the man underneath than in most of those roles. I mean, Lord of Faunus is great, but
oh yeah, that's what I was gonna say, because like in What We Do in the Shadows, he was in insane makeup, body makeup, everything, like for like some episodes.
I do want to say, if you're looking forward to another Doug project, he mentioned MC and Hawk's interview. He did like an indie version of Nosferatu that's coming out pretty soon.
So looking forward to that.
Yes.
Were you good, Hawk?
I'm good.
Giraffe?
I love the action Saru. I thought it was giving Spock. You think I'm bluffing?
Yeah.
You think I'm bluffing? No, I'm here. I have a plan. And it's all like ironed out. You're the one being insane. I'm just ready. So I really like that. I thought it was a great scene. I thought it was very well acted. Yeah, all that. I'm just disappointed that Nan literally did nothing. Like, she could have not been here and it would have been the same scene.
But then Yum Yum Pod wouldn't be able to go Yum Yum.
Yeah, but I'm sure Yum Yum Pod would ever have had her like
do something.
Yeah. I was kind of like, why? Like, she's supposed to defend him against the dreadnought? Like why is she here? But I mean, I'm always glad to see her. She's always so cool, but I'm just disappointed that she didn't get to kick ass. So I don't know.
Fair.
I thought it was a smart thing. I think also at the beginning, I was like, I don't understand what the fuck they're doing. Like, I'm so confused for why they were going there. I mean, how they were going to stop her, Tahal. And then I really like the fact that basically everything like comes together and that they're at the right spot, at the right moment, at the right time. And I love that Rayner just like, oh yeah, I found this guy hanging around. And it's Saru. I thought it was an incredible scene. I wonder if it was scripted or not. Because that was such an insane line that I hope it's actually not scripted. that would have been if we ever interview Callum Kifrani. I
We
want to
are.
know that.
That's in my plan for the next few weeks. Is
I want to know if that line was scripted or not, because that sounded so unscripted.
Which one? I just found.
When Burnham arrives in the ready room and Rayner and Saru is here, and Rayner points at Saru and is like, I just found this guy, like this guy hanging around or something like that. I'm like, what?
I have a feeling that we will get Calm pretty easily. He like follows all of our stuff. So fingers crossed. Fingers crossed. I'm gonna pass because you guys said everything like on this. I don't really know what else I would add. It was great. Like Doug Jones is a national treasure. If you go around Trek Twitter today, you will find a screen test of Doug in the original Saru makeup with like the 16 eyes. Go check that out. So it's like so cool how far Saru has come from that original design to season 1 to now. Like I like the scene is great, but just seeing where Saru has come, because I've sometimes been like, oh, Saru's great. Oh, like you fucking suck, Saru. Oh, Saru's great again. I have like a love and hate relationship with Saru, but I just absolutely adore Doug Jones. So this was.
Can I jump on this? The thing that's interesting is that if you put Saru's arc next to Michael Burnham's arc, they have a lot of like similarity on how they grow, but somehow, and that's why they're friends. But I feel we read them very separately with the like I hate you, I love you thing with Saru more than with Michael Burnham, in my opinion. No, but I think they're like very good. They're very interesting relationship to study in Disco and to look at the 5 season through this lens. And I want to ask, Jim the Casual is saying that the line is scripted. Are you part of the
writing team?
Because I want to know. If you are, then I believe you. If you're not, how do you know?
Oh,
I need to know.
Dun, 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 dun. It's the wedding, the fashion, the conversations.
No,
book
no, it's
Michael. Sorry. Book and wedding. I know. Sorry. The fashion, the conversations, book and Michael. It's a beautiful moment. How do you feel about it, MC?
Okay, first things first. I have some new cosplay goals. Because, oh my God, like the costumes, like so fucking pretty. This was, I mean, I'm pretty sure like this was planned from the beginning of the season. Like this was not added in. There was always. But it works so fucking well for like finishing off the series. And I love these people, and I love how they're such a fucking family. And just being able to like everybody just has some time together. Just this is not something that we get a lot in Star Trek. These, nice. Everybody's just happy and celebrating something. And it's just really nice. The Book and Michael stuff, like we knew Book and Michael were going to get back together at some point. I do have to say that it felt I mean, I'm glad they got back together, and part of me is glad. I mean, like they obviously did have like some like conversations like under fire and that kind of stuff. But in this, it just kind of felt like it's like, okay, so I guess we're back together now, which it's both good and bad, I think. If part of it is just like, well, of course they're going to just get back together because they're in love and they both know that they're in love. But then another part of me is like, it just felt like almost like, oh, this is a loose end that we need to tie up. So I'm very conflicted on it. But I mean, it was really beautiful them being like on the beach together, and so it's like even though it did feel like okay, we got to put this in because we got to wrap things up. Part of me like just doesn't care because they're back together and they need to be back together, and it was beautiful and they're in love, and I love.
I agree.
I love love too, and that's why I love the wedding. And here's the reason why I think this wasn't part of the reshoots. It was too short. It could have been longer. They could have had some dialogue there. It just felt like it was part of a season finale, and it hurt my soul that Grey Towel wasn't there because they should have been there. That would have been amazing. It's so pretty. It was so nice. It was nice to see everyone so happy and in a joyous moment, especially with so much strife. This Michael and Book stuff. God, those are two gorgeous people on a gorgeous beach. Professing
Gorgeous
their
dialogue.
Like
Hold your hairstyle.
Oh my God, don't get me started on the hair.
And then Book having his sentence commuted. Like, I was just like, oh my God, they're making them have a happy ending. And it made me so happy. And it yes, I love too.
Fuck.
I love Lamp. Yes, the wedding was great. Obviously, Book and Michael getting back together. We may have seen it coming, but it resonates even more so in that the fact that with all the stuff Michael kind of came, discovered about herself in episode 8, and that knowing like there's always a mission, there's always like the end of the universe, life changing stuff that's going to happen, and that it's like she comes to what am I trying to say? I'm having a brain fart, but she comes to the conclusion that a lot of other ship captains never really came to, and that it's like there's always going to be another mission, and that doesn't mean you have to cast aside things that you want for yourself, and this is something that she wants. She wants to be with Book, and Book wants to be with her because, as he said, it's like I've been in love with you almost from the moment we met, and there's room for that, and it's like it's nice that they show that despite the responsibilities of the uniform and everything and that, there is room for the you and what you want. And I'm glad they put it in like this.
Yeah. Draft.
I was disappointed by that wedding.
Oh.
Because I felt that it lacked story. I would have liked to see the ceremony. It's not often that we get. I'm an anthropologist. I'm an archaeologist. You know what I mean? I want to know how is that a Kelpian wedding? Is that a Vulcan wedding? Is that a Nivarian wedding? Like how, do they have the gling, 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 gling? Like what's going on? Like, in Enterprise, it was very interesting. We get T-Paul's wedding, sorry. And, there are like some things that you glance at it, a little bit more of the ceremony. Like we come at the end of the ceremony and I'm like, no, here are the vows, something like that. That would have been like nice. I like the humor of the thing, like the crabbiness. When Tilly calls Rayner crabby, that cracked me up, this conversation. That very wedding conversation. And I'm going to have a very, I know I'm going to make enemies, but I didn't live for the costumes. I felt it too much. The thing is, Garsha Phillips in the previous season got us, very slick, fashion with, grand calls, for the Vulcan and stuff like that. But it was always very, very, very sleek. And I really liked it. I don't say it's bad. I said I don't like it. The difference. Mm-hmm. Anthony Tran, I feel he works a lot the fabrics, and I really admire his work on fabrics, especially all the organic fabrics that they made for the previous episodes. The sand planets and all the pre-war planets. I really appreciate that texture work that he does. But I felt that Tarina was just lost in that dress. She's just a head.
It was not
with, a giant thing around her, and I'm
she
just
looked like RoboCop.
It's
I like
too much. And compared to Pring's dress in Strange New World, we're so elegant, so fashion driven. I mean, you see her body. You don't see her body, but you see her her shoulders. There's there is definition to the silhouette. I felt that they all looked like they were totally lost in their suits. I mean, even Burke, who's a gorgeous, gorgeous man, got so lost into so much fabric. Outfit. But I don't say it's bad. I say that I personally don't like it because they look like they are in a pile of fabric. And his fabrics are gorgeous. His work on fabric and textile is incredible. But that veil was not complimentary to her head, in my opinion. She looked like she was like going like this, like trying to stay out of the neck of the dress. And Saru being like way taller. I mean, I like the shape of his costume, but I think the costume he was wearing in the shuttle, like the blue costume that he had,
it's like ambassador. Yeah.
It was gorgeous. For the wedding, I mean, I like their dress uniforms. Like Burnham's dress uniform is absolutely incredible, and the work they did on the hair was really good. But Serena got screwed. Like she has like a wig that's really not nice. But yeah, I don't know. Also, it was such a small place. Like they're in like this bubble. And I feel like that was a way to not like put anything in there. It was just like a screen, and they just had a lot of lights and there's almost no objects, no nothing. And then they do the thing on the beach. And that was my favorite part about that scene. It's Book and Burnham. I think that their relationship is just such a true relationship. Like, you see all these relationships on movies and so on, and you feel like, "Oh, that's not what I have. That's not like," but they're conniving, like they're friends. And I feel that you see them reconnect from the Breen ship when they like talk, and she's like, "We may die, so I'm gonna talk to you." And I feel that they are so real and so true in the idea that when you're in a relationship like this, you don't need to talk. It's like it's being here. And when Book is here, and she was, when she comes back from the portal and she tells him, "I heard you in there. I heard your voice. And I knew you were waiting for me and you were here." And he answers, "Always." That was the moment. And that's what, like, when you're really in vibe with somebody, that's all you need. Not great discourse, not kissing passionately. And I feel that Book and Burnham are so adult and so realistic in their relationship. Like that constant like back and forth, that constant joking, that moment where, like they just talk to each other and you see that they're flowing. And I thought that it was most probably for me, the most relatable relationship that we've had in Star Trek for a man and a woman, just because they're adults and they're no bullshit, and they go through stuff and they grow through stuff. So I really like this, and I like that they say "I love you" at the moment, and it feels so normal, and I really like that.
Yeah, very nice. I was gonna basically talk about Michael and Book.
Go ahead.
Yeah. I hard to not to disagree with you guys. Like the wedding itself was pretty disappointing. I did not like either wedding outfit. Yeah, like everything except Tarina and Saru was actually really nice. You guys know me, like I've been here for Book and Michael all season, and their conversation at the end is what got me the goosebumps and very teary-eyed and misty. And just the moment when she's just like, "I never stopped," and he's just like, "You love me, I love you." Like, of course, like we've known that. Like you don't. I said this at the beginning of the season when they broke up. You don't go through what you went through at the end of season 4 to just stop trying. And I think that there were outstanding circumstances with her becoming a captain and him doing the sentence where, yes, they stopped talking, but dude, that love was always there. And should this have maybe happened earlier in the season? Yeah, but I'll let it go because I love what we're going to get to in just a minute here. Before we do, we have to talk about the big reveal that does happen, I believe, before the wedding. And that is Kovich. The conversation between Michael and Kovich, this reveal, in my opinion, is just fucking everything and makes so much sense for the past 3 seasons. What do we think about this Agent Daniels USS Enterprise? And also, is Moll going to show up and help Giorgio in the Section 31 movie? Because that's what I'm getting. MC.
I'll start with the Moll thing. I don't know, and I don't care.
That's fair.
And as for the Agent Daniels thing, I was just not expecting this at all. Like as soon as it happened, it was like the Leonardo DiCaprio like meme, just like pointing at the screen. Because I was like, hey, I know that guy. I never thought they were going to reference that guy ever again, because Daniels is a pretty deep cut. Like, because I mean, yes, he was big on he was an important part of Enterprise, but also it's Enterprise. Like this, I'm sorry, I'm not trying to shade Enterprise that much, but I mean, I guess Discovery is the show that does kind of give Enterprise more of its due. Like they did, like I think there was like the USS Archer or some
Archer Space Dock. There's a reason now that was named Archer Space Dock.
Yeah. And yet everything just like it makes so much sense, like having him be Daniels, because like all of the stuff with Giorgio and like knowing about the time travel, and it's like, oh well, the Guardian of Forever is going to be the way to get you back. Of course, Daniels, who is like this time agent, is going to be somebody who's going to know all of this stuff about, what's happening to Giorgio and how to get her back. And it's so, I don't think that Kovich was always meant to be Daniels. I think that this was something that maybe they came up with later, but it works so well that if they did say it's like, oh yeah, we always knew this was going to be him, then I would be like, okay, do you know what? I will at least accept the lie, because I don't know if they did, but it works so well. Because I think that if it had been earlier, I think that they would have worked in like the using pen and paper earlier. Because that's certainly them hinting at him being some sort of time traveler or whatever was coming up more this season with things like that. And I really liked this. This was something that, I think I love a deep cut. So this was so nice.
Yeah, agreed. Eric?
I'm going to start with the Moll thing. I hope not. I hope she's not in the Section 31 movie. I don't need her there. I don't need her. Let her do something.
We'll just watch Ahsoka season 2. We're good.
I'm fine. Yeah, exactly. As for the Daniels thing, you get to see this amazing conversation between these two characters we've seen for a number of seasons, and I like that Michael's just like, there's something you're not telling me. That's not your name. Then they show Geordi's visor, and they show the base Moll, and you're sitting there like, oh my god, what are they gonna do? And then he said, I'm Agent Daniels of the USS Enterprise, and I lost it. I lost it so much that I had to rewind it because I didn't hear any dialogue after that. And I was so happy because I like Enterprise. I know. But the Time Wars, it's something that's always intrigued me, and the fact that Daniels is here, just there's so many things going off in my brain. Like, why is he stuck in one time? Like, what happened to his ugly ass uniform that he used to wear as a younger agent? Like, stuff like that. I mean, just like
changes.
Yeah, no, fashion changes, and he's staying in one time, which I think is neat. And like, there's just so much in my brain, and I want more of him now. So much more, Daniels. Oh my god, I loved it so much.
Yes, indeed. Hawk.
Yes, the Moll stuff. Yeah, okay, we're done with that. Daniels, like I was blown away, and it's like MC said, it makes so much sense. In fact, I think they probably would have built up more of this story in season 6 had they gotten it in that, because I think this could have been the plan all along, in that, because like he's always been that one who seems to know too much, but also seems like an anachronism himself, and that the glasses, the suits, and they make him seem like a man out of time, don't they? The paper, it's like, where'd you get sheets of paper from the 21st century?
That library on destroyed Earth when they almost fucked everything up.
I'm so glad they gave him such that kind of, like, as MC said, the deep cut, it's like because Daniels, like it or not, it was pretty much an intrinsic part of Trek canon, and that's its Enterprise, and that, we give Enterprise a lot of shit and that, but it's like it had its great moments too, and that interconnection, it's just beautiful. I love it.
Holy shit, the later we go, the more people we get. We have 41 people watching us.
Hey, everybody.
Giraffe.
Yeah, so, okay, first of all, I'm pretty sure we went very close in one episode to say that it was Agent Daniel. I'm pretty sure we were like talking about him
being time agent.
A time agent, temporal Cold Wars, because we're talking about how the red directives have something to do with time, most probably. And that's why they're red directive and not Omega directive or whatever.
Right.
Because they are threat to the timeline. And so we started riffing out of that. So we were so close. Somebody who like listened to the podcast, who is not me. Julian, you listen to all the podcasts, don't you remember?
Yeah, I do, but that's also editing, and no, God, no, I don't remember.
Well, I'm sure somebody can like be. We need like fans that can reference us and be like, yeah, in episode this so and so, you said that.
We need an archivist,
like a Wikipedia. So I was very glad because it makes so much sense, and we know that Daniels goes like all around timelines. He jumps all over the place, so. That's why the paper is so fresh. I felt very vindicated in that. Not vindicated. Anyway, I felt very good about that. That's why the paper was fresh, and because it goes and it picks it up. So that's great. I was troubled by the fact that all the objects in his office are references to TNG and none from Enterprise.
There was a baseball.
There's DS9.
Which is DS9. Yeah, but non-Enterprise. That's what I meant.
Yeah, no picture of Archer. Well, that might have given it away.
Like, put a water polo ball or something like that.
Porthos
Archer locks
there's a stuffed
down.
beagle.
Stuffed beagle. A water polo thing. I don't know. I bet it was like, okay, Geordi's. Why does he have Geordi's visor? Did he take it out of his like?
He doesn't need it anymore.
No, I know, but that's weird that he has it of all people. Like, why?
I was thinking that too. Like, did he steal it off Geordi's bedside table?
Well, Geordi doesn't use it. Yeah, that's true. But
He
it's
doesn't need
so
it anymore.
weird.
Yeah.
Like, okay, so that was like my reflection. But then I'm very interested by like the empty room where he goes, and I wonder if it's not also a way for him to heal himself from being like moving around so much or something to do with this. I don't know. But anyway, I was interested. Like, I feel like the Impossible Room, Infinity Room, it sounds like a club. The Infinity Room has something to do that, like, they were going to explain at some point or another. So, yeah, I can tell you that in the room yesterday, it was hilarious because when she goes, I'm Captain Michael Burnham, USS Discovery, a guy behind me said, is Cisco. I was like, is Cisco. I looked back and I was like, dude, no.
He does the Darth Vader thing. He takes off his mask. He's actually a white dude.
I like just turned and looked at him like, what?
Y'all. People.
No.
Half the room was like, oh my God, what the fuck? And the other half of the room were like, who?
Which is why it's a great reference.
Yeah.
I feel it's a great choice. I think it was very smart of Disco. I think they did know it from the beginning.
Yeah, I agree with that.
The glasses.
everything.
The first episode where he shows in, he shows up. Georgie's like, "What's up with the glasses?" That's where we should have known.
I think the best thing is like on our spoiler chat in our Discord, every single one of us wrote the same thing at this point. We're like, holy fuck, Daniels. All of us. Every single one. It was so good to read.
I mean, the thing is that he cannot fix his eyes, but he definitely fixed his hair, huh?
Damn sure.
That's
big
hollow
time.
hair, baby. That's hollow hair.
Damn right.
So MC said that it was like the Leonardo DiCaprio meme, right? Like I was literally the Leo DiCaprio meme. Like when the minute he said it, I went, holy fuck. Like Karen could come in here right now and attest to it. Like I lost my collective shit. Because it does make so much sense from not being intimidated by Giorgio to kind of knowing who she is, right? Not putting up with her bullshit. And then like the way that he doesn't put up with anybody else's bullshit during like the course of these seasons is such like a Daniels trait, right? Like Daniels definitely gave Archer like shit when it was time to like pep talk him. He didn't put up with anything. So I liked it also until someone in the writer's room on any Star Trek or any other whatever tells me I'm wrong. Kovich is definitely Future Man. Like like Daniels is also Future Man. He has been manipulating the timeline. Yeah, he has been manipulating the timeline to get it to this point that needed to be at.
So wait, Agent. Yeah. So Agent Daniel, like past Agent Daniel, is the one with Archer, and then future Agent Daniel is Future Man.
Yeah, Kovich. Like he's become Kovich, and he's doing this on behalf of Starfleet. Yep.
I still like the Future Archer thing.
I'm convinced Future Archer.
Yeah.
I wish we knew.
If only they had cared enough to address that on Enterprise.
It's Crusher.
It's Crusher. Let's talk about the final plot point, and that is the coda, this epilogue of Star Trek Discovery, which I just called Craft. The future. Michael and Book are married. They have a Nepo baby captain. They live on a beautifully, like, way too big of a house for a Starfleet salary, but we won't talk about it.
Does Starfleet have salaries?
I know there's no money, but I don't care. That house is gorgeous.
Well, he owns the planet.
He does own. That's true. Michael's got like a not pet deer named Alice. I love it. And Michael is off to send Discovery on her final mission, a red directive in deep space, which of course finally puts Calypso to bed. Kind of once and for all after what Eric said. Maybe not really, but somewhat once and for all. What did we think about? It's
hurting me so much.
I know the epilogue and the kind of Return of the King slow-mo montage on the bridge and the final moments of the series. MC.
I'm of two minds of it. One, I fucking love it because I love that, I love that Michael and Book are married. I love that the makeup is so much better for this scene than it was in like All Good Things, and they actually
put the rubber masks.
and like they look older, but they don't look bad. The Nepo baby captain was I can't remember what his name is.
They named him
like the nephew. Yeah.
Okay. But it was really cute. I love Michael's uniform. The entire time I was looking at it, I was just like, it's giving me Monster Maroon vibes, and I love it.
Giving me Mass Effect vibes too.
Yeah, one of
and bringing Calypso back, like actually, like, I'm glad they did it. I'm angry now that I've heard about that interview, and having like the nice memory / imagine spot where she gets to spend time with everybody is really sweet. I just like that Oo and Detmer are married, obviously. I'd like seeing them.
A roommate.
Gals who are pals.
I mean, it's cheaper that way, right?
Girls trip.
So I loved all of it because it was the finale and we needed to have this. On the other hand, it was so obviously the finale. It's like, oh, this is where all the money went for the reshoots. It's like we need to put a button on all of this, and this is all of the stuff that we wanted to do. We wanted to have a whole season of Calypso, but here's just like a couple of minutes where it's just like Michael's just going to leave the ship here, and this is how the crew. This is the crew leaving the ship, and it felt a little like we're shoehorning things in just because we need to figure out how this works. But I don't fucking care. I just bring it up because that's what I do. You guys know me well enough to know that I bring this kind of shit up, but I don't care. I love it. I'm happy.
Nice. Same. Eric?
I love Return of the King because of the ending and how we get to see how everyone is so happy at the end. And we've never had that in a Star Trek show. It was nice seeing everyone be so happy and have like a happy ending. Do I want to see in like 20 years like a Picard type Burnham show? Yeah. Fuck yeah. That doesn't mean that this can't happen.
If they make her a golem, I will burn half the continent.
They have organic.
People will die. People will get stabbed. No.
They have organic technology, so they can make it better.
True. Still a golem.
I loved the old age makeup. She looks like her mom. It was crazy.
100%. It was wild.
I thought that was the actress, and I was like, no, that's Sonequa Martin Green. Holy shit. It was so cute seeing Book get her coffee, and like it was such a cute little moment that they had. And after so many years of them like on and on off again, like so much strife, seeing them just be content being beside each other was so nice. When Burnham was making that fence and that deer came up, I was like, holy shit, that is gorgeous. The CGI the money they spent on just that deer, damn, they're spending all that last little reshoot money for that. Although I wasn't sure about the piece of wood that she used for that fence. Whatever, that doesn't matter. The Nepo baby, I didn't mind that. I thought it was sort of cute.
I don't mind it either. I don't mind Jack Crusher either. It's just like it is what it is, right? Like they're Nepo babies.
He was very young to be a captain. I thought that's what I thought.
Well, that's the Nepo baby.
That is the Nepo baby part. but I like that he was going on his first captaincy, and his mom was there to like give him a pep talk before going out there. It was really cute. The new comm badges are fucking cool. I loved it. And as soon as I saw it, I was like, well, fuck, I guess I gotta make one of those. And I did that night.
It was within like a couple of hours.
Yeah, I finished it and I was like, guys, look what I made. It was so funny. I didn't need to talk about the wood. Yum yum. When we ended up going to disco and seeing the little bots taking off the A off the hull, I was like, oh, what's happening here? And then we hear this whole.
That's where I knew.
Yeah.
When I saw the A, I was like, oh my God, this game.
Yeah. And then you go under the bridge and she's talking to the Zora, and I'm sitting there, I was like, this is such a sad way to send off this ship. Like it makes sense that they want to deal with Calypso and all of that, but it's sad that this amazing AI that became sentient for this crew like just ends up being shuttled off. I want to know why. She had to go in the future for craft.
I told that to Julian.
Oh, I look forward to it.
In 16 pieces. No, when it's my turn, I will talk about it.
Mm-hmm. It makes me sad that we're not getting season 6 to get this all explained, because I love the idea that they were going that way. The reunion of Michael Burnham looking into her memories and being like, oh, these are all the people on my crew. We're all happy. It was very hobbits jumping on a bed, being happy that
It was literally hobbits jumping onto bed. It was that scene with the sepia,
and the light in the back, and it was so nice and it was so pretty and do 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 that was happening in the background, whatnot. They should have had that Hobbit theme going. It would have been hilarious. It was nice. It was nice seeing Owo and Detmer back, even though, it was just this sequence. But it was nice seeing them being like with everyone together and like this is what Burnham remembers when she's sending off this ship that was such an important part of her life. It was beautiful. It was really sad, and it really felt like an ending. Do I want them to do movies in between that time and the finale? Fuck yeah. It doesn't mean that it won't. But it was such a nice, definite finale. Like,
yeah,
it was definite.
Definite. Yeah. Hawk.
First up, like when I saw this happening, I was like, they never do this. They never do prologues like this. And then like the time jump in that and seeing Sonequa, like not just the makeup was great, but also her mannerisms were so great. Like the way she kind of slowly gets out of bed, and it's like you can tell like that extra 25 years that is added on. She's she feels it in that. The fact that they gave her such a happy ending and that they never do that for captains.
Never.
And as I pointed out, like
all good things, people. Come on.
We don't know how Janeway finishes.
Yeah, Janeway got a happy ending too, I feel. They made it back home. Yeah. The only captain that's been screwed is fucking Cisco, and then like Enterprise got a hologram.
Ate a bridge in his face, and
yeah,
Picard got screwed, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Okay, fair. All right.
And as I pointed out, of course, Burnham is the one who has a kid who's in Starfleet and is actually surprisingly well adjusted. And that is like, I thought, bravo.
As far as we know, we only saw him for like 5 minutes.
But he had swagger.
Yeah.
Hey, if you meet me for 5 minutes, you think I'm well adjusted also. Maybe. 2 minutes.
Deep
5 is too long.
We know better.
But again, I like how they they included Calypso in that, and it's like they took some of the edge off of Calypso in that, because like when we first saw that, and it's like I haven't seen the crew in like so long and that, and it's like your first thing is like, what happened to the crew and that? Did everybody die? Because it was meant to be such like a dark little short story. No, it was it's a red directive. We're not sure why. You had like an interesting theory in that, Julian. I think about how it's a time capsule.
Time capsule.
Yeah.
Zora's just a drama queen.
But what really did it for me was with the way they rolled it out, and that with all like the ships lined up and that, like basically in paying tribute to Discovery and that, because like the ship was literally what saved the Federation in the 32nd century
and saved Star Trek.
Sure did.
Yep.
Take that, haters and gatekeepers.
Yeah, I'm good.
Congressional baseball fan who's been on fire in the chat tonight. Kirk got to die on a bridge just like he always wanted.
Under a bridge, technically.
Under a bridge, yeah.
Listen,
he was on it at first.
Please go off with your Calypso Iliad.
Okay,
Odyssey,
so first of all, this epilogue,
John.
I cried throughout the thing. The first time I watched it, when I saw them all, I was like, ah. So I had to rewatch it like 3 times. I think it's the screeners that I used the most, because I was like, I
definitely used a lot of mine. Yeah,
because I don't know if you remember, I think episode 2 or so on, I was like, if they make Michael a Sand, I'm going to be so mad. And my reason for being mad is that they don't give her a story, and we don't get to see her old, and we don't get her to see her accomplish. We don't see her to, going through life and having a legacy and building things and being here for people. So when it ends and like the episode ends and they add like that epilogue and we see like these feet, I was watching with my husband, was like, that's her, she's old. I was like, shut up, no, wait, what? And then I was like, oh my god, she's old. And for me, it's so important because the book ended her story in an idea that we have.
Get off my bridge.
In betweens, all these year in betweens where very clearly she does adventure with book that are up for writing, and they can't do anything to her. They kill her because we know she ends up being an admiral and like being old. They can demote her because we see that. They can make her like be alone and lost because we see she has a kid. So like basically they ironed down Michael legacy in Star Trek so nobody fucks with it. And I'm so happy they did that because then, you don't know what next generations will bring. And I'm so glad that they cannot take that away from her. And she's happy. Their banter cracked me up with the thing in the coffee. It's not good. I love that. I like that the deer is named Alice because, that's a reference to her mother and that to her brother. I found that beautiful. The son, I was afraid, was like, oh my God, another Starfleet Nepo baby. Incredible. Like, and they have to be captain. None of their kid is like, no, you know what? I'm going to be, I don't know, a shopkeeper.
Gonna be a Beckett Mariner, like ensign forever.
This is why I love Jake Sisko.
That's why I love Jake Sisko and Rayner. Like, because they're like, no, like, I don't want to be my parents. So, yeah, the name of the nephew was nice. I thought it was the best second choice, the third choice being Spock, but whatever.
Yes. That's his middle name.
But also Spock is kind of like Jesus on Nivar, so maybe it's weird.
Well, that's why it's his middle name.
Like naming your kid Elvis.
I have to say, like, these quiet retirement are something that is so that's why I like Nepenthe also, because you see them like, enjoying their life and having retirement when we live in a society right now where, I see people who are 90 years old and are still working like retail, and that I'm always so like absolutely surprised by it, because in France you get retirement, not a lot, but we do. And I'm always like, why are they working? So I'm going to work until I fucking die. That's what is going to happen. So, it gives me solace to see that. I love the new uniforms, the new Delta. I found they were gorgeous. I like the fact that we learned that her son was in the academy and that Tilly is still in charge of the academy, because now we know that Tilly is going to be one of the main characters of the academy show. There's no way. And also, maybe we're going to see Burnham's kid.
Oh, yeah. Shit. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, well, it depends when it's going to be, in time. But so I'm so glad, because we don't say goodbye to the crew. They're going to be around. And the mentorship program she's talking about, I was like, that is so heavy. Like, they're like hitting us on the head, like with like the academy show. I was like, I got it. Mentorship
I
program.
do have to say, I'm so amazed. The Academy has been around for over 1,000 years at this point, and they've never had a mentorship program before. Like, what?
Crazy.
Well, maybe before but not in the 32nd. Yeah. So I like that, it's giving me like, again, we're going to see everybody. It's fine. It's not goodbye. It's not adieu. When they showed the A being removed, I fucking lost my shit, because I knew immediately it was going to be Calypso. And for people who don't know, because there were like conversation in the chat, the whole thing about Calypso is that the ship in Calypso is before Refit. And everybody was like, then it's an alternate timeline, it cannot be Discovery, it's like a Discovery from another place, blah, 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 because it's before Refit, so there's no way. No, it's on purpose. And I fucking love that, because I think it adds so many layers to Calypso, because I think there's, so in the Odyssey, Calypso is here to help Odysseus, Ulysses, not die, right? He's in the storm, he's being battered by the gods fucking hate his gods, Poseidon, and they're trying to kill him. And he's half dead, and he gets on Calypso Island, and she heals him and she helps him, and she doesn't want him to go because she's very alone. But then he has to go because he needs to go back to Ithaki and like, do his thing, right? And he's helped by Athena, who's like putting things in place for him to succeed. kind of the down low because she was always pro the Greeks when like the other gods were pro Troy. So anyway, there's a lot of like god politics in the Odyssey. So I like that basically the Federation, Kovich knows that at one point or another, craft is essential to the survival of the Federation. And we know that Kovich have always been trying to help Daniels to help the Federation like survive, right? So we know that Kraft hates the Federation, right? The Fedresh. It's so far in the future that the word Federation has like morphed into something else.
It's funny though, because what's his name in season 3 even calls the Federation the Vidrash. So it's already starting to take shape post Burn.
Yeah, exactly. Vidrash. Yeah. So he is hurt. He's gonna die, right? And Zora is his Calypso. He helps her. She helps him. She heals him. She shows him the kindness and the beauty and the sport that the Federation used to be, right? And I think that the Red Directive is that by influencing Kraft at that moment, showing him the value of the Federation and the humanity of the Federation through Zora is actually another person because she's not she's a person. She's not a person, you know. And being his Calypso, when he's gonna go and finish the battle, he will be more favorable to the Vidrash because these values, and he will embody these values, and that will help the future of the Federation. Maybe not the Vidrash, would become something else, but a new Federation. And I think that's what it is, because that's only what it is in the Odyssey. So I do think that they sacrifice Sora because she's the only one that can remember these values forever and not change through the events. That's why they put her in deep space. That's why they retrofit the ship also. Because like that, there's no essential technology in it. She's not going to be, pillaged or destroyed because she's a very old ship.
Right.
So Athena is Kovich. Somebody's asking me who's Athena. Athena is 1000% Kovich. The strategy, the agenda in an agenda, the knowledge of the past and the future, and like putting all the things. Kovich is Athena. Anyway. So yeah, I fucking loved it. The reunion at the end made me cry. Again, I cried and I cried and I cried. And the last flight took me out. I had to rewatch this 3 times to just go through it. That's a beautiful send-off. I could not have wished for a better epilogue. That was 10/10, no notes.
Well, now I know what Hawk feels like going after you. I can't top that.
No.
I loved this. I loved everything about it. And I know people are like, oh, well, they're sacrificing Zora. But I mean, like, literally, I had like this, it didn't spawn, but like I asked Giraffe, like, how does this like fall into like the Odyssey and Calypso? And she explained to me, and like, this is literally what it is. And it's beautiful and it's gorgeous. And them just like living together and naming their son Leto, and the fact that Vance is still kicking it, and everything is just like, yeah, I couldn't have asked for a better, like, shows get canceled and don't get this, and they got it and then some. So like, listen, do I think it's like one of like the greatest Trek finales ever? No, like, because there's definitely some unfinished business. We're always going to feel that, because I think the show deserves like at least 2 more seasons, but it's a perfect ending in the sense of like there's nothing else that they could have done. I love basically like the how many horns is it, like the salute to the Discovery, like you said, Hawk, like with all the ships, and then doing, they didn't do a lot of the Star Trek fanfare as it's coming out. Instead, it's like the Discovery like main title theme right up until it's about to spore jump, and then Jeff Russo goes into like the very old school horned of the dun 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 dun, and I just was like, thank you Michelle Paradise, thank you Alex Kurtzman. Like, this show and this finale was exactly what we needed. So final thoughts, and we'll go in reverse, and we'll try and go quickly because it is getting late. Giraffe.
Oh yeah, that's going to go quick like that. Thank you. I think it's one of the most beautiful finale they've given any Trek show. It's giving us a lot of closure because they know how much this show has meant for a lot of us and how much Michael Burnham means to a lot of us. And I feel that they protected their legacy. And also, I think what Discovery has that no other show has is that they do not look towards the past. They always look towards the future. That's a show that have pushed Trek so far out of their comfort zone, so far out of their timeline. We're in the 32nd century, and they're opening all the way to Craft and Calypso, which open millennia of possible stories for Star Trek. And I think a lot of fans are underappreciated of how much Discovery has built a future for Star Trek, a future that I hope will be here for the next generations. But as Michael tells Zora, when you'll be back, you will see our stories. You will know what happened to us, and you will meet our descendants. And that is what Discovery has done, is opening all these possible stories, all these possible people for like many, many generations of Star Trek.
Nice. Hawk?
Yeah, same feelings. I don't know what more I can add to that. It's, Discovery really is, I think, what, they talk about Gene's vision and that. And I think this is as close as it gets in that, the unfiltered, infinite diversity and infinite combinations. This finale, flaws aside, is heartfelt and embodies a lot of what Star Trek is, supposed to embody in that. Ideas, science, and belief in ourselves, that we can overcome obstacles no matter what. I think they did a great job doing that. I love these characters. I'm sad to see them go, but I'm happy to see them go out with such dignity.
Nice. Eric?
This show, I haven't it's well known that I feel like the show had a rocky start. I feel like it took a little while for it to find its footing. But when it did, this show has meant so much. And even from the beginning, the show has been the most diverse out of any crew that we've had. It's been so important for my kids to see people people of color on screen. It's incredible. This finale was a perfect send-off for a show that, like I said earlier, saved Star Trek. It was 10 years off TV, and it was a couple years just on the movie screens again. But even then,
it was just a year.
Was it just a year?
Yeah.
2009 to 2012. Yeah, man, it's crazy.
Beyond was 2016.
Yeah, that's crazy. It to have such a happy ending for a show that means so much to all of us is incredible. It's hard to put into words. Like everyone else here, it's such a beautiful show. It means so much to all of us. We wouldn't be here together talking about this if not for this show. Like that, and you guys are some of my favorite people in the world. Like
you too.
So it's nice. It's nice meeting all these people on the internet that we've come to know after all of these years. 4 years of doing this. And we were talking about me and Julian were talking about, and Hawk have been talking about Disco years before then. It's crazy to think about that. It's such a journey for everyone, and it's so nice that this has been such an important part of the film industry for Canada. Like Hollywood North in Toronto is thriving because of Star Trek, and the Pinewood Studios up here is named after Star Trek now. We are it's amazing how much this show has affected so much around our lives, especially us around Toronto that are, living it. It's incredible. Man, it makes me so sad to know that this is the end. and I said it after we watched the screeners. Out of everything, it makes me sad that I don't get to see these people more. But hopefully, you have streaming movies.
Academy.
Mm-hmm. Academy, movies, something.
Emmys, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
MC.
So it's really strange considering that this was, retrofitted into being the series finale. But I actually think that this is, for me, the best series finale since What You Leave Behind. Might be controversial, Voyager fans, Picard fans come at me. I don't think anybody is going to deny that this is better than the Enterprise one. No. I've obviously this season I've been very picky about the plot that they chose to do. And even in this episode, I was picky about the plot. But in the end, that's not the shit that I'm remembering from this. I'm remembering the epilogue, and everybody else hates the wedding here. I love the wedding. And the scene with Discovery, all of this stuff where it's like, this is this crew, these people that we've loved over the last 5 seasons. And I came to Discovery late. I think that they'd already had 2 seasons air by the time I started watching it, because I did a pandemic watch of everything Star Trek. And I decided to watch Discovery because I heard that Spock had a sister. And I was like, if I'm going to write a fan fiction, I want to be able to write about Spock's sister. So Discovery got moved up in my queue. And I'm really glad that it was, because it's a wonderful, wonderful show. Like I have never had the same kind of reservations about it that a lot of people have. I love every season. I've loved what they've done. I really like these characters. I really like Michael, and I'm going to be sad that I'm really sad that they're not going to have their own show. And I desperately, desperately, desperately want to have cameos from all of these people in Starfleet Academy. Like, let's have Michael show up to like do some lectures and then accidentally ends up having to go on a mission or whatever. Like, I need this to happen. Make this happen, please, Paramount. Like, you've let me down on a lot of things. Don't let me down on this.
And you think they're gonna change?
Inauguration speech. Inauguration speech for Starfleet Academy, right? Oh
yeah.
Man. It's funny to me because I was definitely I had the potential to be one of those people that was like one of those assholes on the internet who just was going to poo-poo this show. Luckily, I think I have, I don't know, a little bit of a better brain than some of the idiot asshole gatekeepers who continue to hate on this show just to get their rocks off. I almost stopped, and all because of some bad makeup. And I just kept watching and absolutely just fell in love with this crew and fell in love with Michael. And then I fell in love with Christopher Pike. Eric said it, but it's what I tweeted about literally right before we went live. We literally wouldn't be here without Discovery, because without Discovery, and this needs to be reminded to people a lot as well, without Discovery, we don't have Strange New Worlds. And without Strange New Worlds, we don't have this podcast. This is also the second show that we started covering. We went to Lower Decks, and then we're like, we had had some discourse about it, because I was on the fence about covering Discovery because Star Trek Discovery Pod was doing it, and I didn't want to step on their toes. And I actually reached out to their host at the time and was like, "Can we do this?" And they're like, "Yeah, there's plenty of room." And that's what's like fucking beautiful about this fandom, is that there is space for all of these voices, right? To talk about these series that we love, and we became one of them. And like just this chat tonight, all here for this show, and it's been like the big, this and Lower Decks have been like the big constant and the big consistent in this podcast's life, because they've been on so long. And
I'm gonna say bye to Lower Decks also.
I don't know if I can do it again, honestly, guys.
Oh, jeez, this is a rough year.
2024 is not the year.
Mike, just well, you know, and it's, I don't know. I'm gonna get emotional. I don't want to get emotional. This was just a beautiful series finale. I really hope the powers that be have seen all of the talk on Twitter and all of the just everything from from this fandom. Like, we want more. Like, I know that actors have other commitments and people are moving on, but let's make some movies. Let's get these guys on Academy, because I don't want to stop talking about this. Luckily, this won't be our last Discovery podcast. We'll do one more. We'll do a season review when the Blu-ray comes out. But like, we need to keep going.
31.
And Section 31. And I am honored and just honored and privileged to be able to do this with you guys every single week. And it's sad to not be able to do this one anymore. Yeah. Let's move on to our final Star Trek Discovery, Subspace to Poll, and Mailbag.
Lieutenant Christopher, open a channel.
Channel's open.
Who's taking the final Discovery poll? Who's doing it? Eric, wow, that was quick. All right, hit it, my friend.
We asked Trek Twitter what they thought of the series finale of Discovery, and this is what they had to say. 52% said, amazing. 27% said, good. 11% said, it was fine. And 10% said, let down. Really? 10%?
Who are you? Who hurt you? We didn't do any funny names for the final because we didn't want to.
Because we're sad.
And we're also sad. So if we keep going that order, Hawk, can you take Eric the Red's mailbag, please?
Sure. Eric the Red wrote, that was quite a send-off, literally. I'm glad I was right about Michael destroying the Progenitors tech. The episode itself was interesting, but a bit confusing. The Moll stuff was still not interesting. Glad to see Action Saru and Non doing some cowboy diplomacy with the Breen. Rayner and the crew using saucer separation to jump the Breen was wild. We all knew that Kovich was something more than he let on, but never expected him to actually be Agent Daniels from Enterprise. Guess it's been a long road for him. Michael getting her happy ending and growing old with Book was a nice surprise. It was great seeing the crew back for that last flashback, saying goodbye, confirmation that Owo and Detwer are a couple. Definitely room for future stories and adventures in the time gap. Parting is indeed such sweet sorrow.
Oh,
yeah.
Draft, can you take Yum Yum Pods, please?
Yes, Yum Yum Pod wrote, it's progenitors all the way down. Praise be to the intelligent designers of life. And we're so lucky that they wanted to create a diversity in the universe that just happened to be humanoid like their image. I guess the natural order of things would never have thought of that on its own. As a season finale, this was perfectly acceptable as it wrapped up many elements and gave the majority of the cast stuff to do. Majority of the cast stuff to do, but it's not the best of the show. As a series finale, it is fine. Under the circumstances of production, this is what one would expect, but I was hoping for some more time and closure with the crew itself. But we at least got to see some old friends again. That being said, I did laugh a lot and that they clearly couldn't get Wilson Cruz back for the reshoots. And used a very young stand-in on the bridge and inserted an old shot of Hugh for the close-up.
I didn't notice that.
Did. Yeah.
I didn't notice that at all.
It's actually pretty bad. Yeah.
Ah, damn it.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to see it. Why, Yum Yum?
Riker Tattoo wrote, "Read alert! We have entered the movie Interstellar. This is like Burnham Dome. 3 Breen enter, 1 Breen leaves." I really like how close we got to the Triforce being the final clue.
Thank you.
Yeah, Burnham being the link in this Wizard of Oz land. I'm glad Moll will always have her locket to wear around her neck.
Get off my bridge.
No.
God damn, yo, this is brutal. Winky face
Riker-
green emoji. Chris, yeah.
Mean.
Yeah. Saru looks like he pulled fashion styles from Shinzon, but actually pulls it off.
Nice.
I have my criticisms, and this might be my second least favorite finale, but I have to stay positive about this since it's the end. I mean, you don't have to, but we're gonna,
Do whatever you want.
exactly. We're gonna tell you you're wrong, but yeah. Could have done without the long bit of exposition about the Calypso scenario tie-in. God damn. But
He's
it's
not
fine.
our friend anymore. He's not my friend anymore. Chris.
Divorced.
We're done.
I have to spend a weekend. We can't unfriend him yet. At least there was a book end to Michael's story.
Get off my bridge.
Ad Astra, you beautiful spinning pizza cutter of salvation and love. Oof. Back to you, MC. Can you take Takakos, please?
Go Roach. So did anyone cry when Culber volunteered? I did. And when the camera showed what was behind Kovich's desk, there were some things that could have been different, but what we got was moving and satisfying. All in all, a beautiful farewell.
Indeed. And Eric, can you take Mars's, please?
Mars wrote, "What can I say that hasn't already been said, y'all? Here we are at the end, and I really wanted to jump out of my chair and yell and clap, and boy did I at the Daniels Kovich reveal. That's how he got those legal pads. But this episode was just fine, and I had such high hopes for me more than that. Don't get me wrong, there are many great moments, but it really left me kind of underwhelmed, and now I'm sad because that's it. Really gonna need some emotional support pizza to get through this one."
Aww. Huck, you take CBFs, please.
Sure. CBF wrote, "Life itself can be found in the world between worlds. Try as one might, there is no way to learn this power. Creating life might be possible, but we can never truly stop those we love from dying. That way is only a dark path of fear, leading to anger, hate, and suffering." Our time is limited, and it's in this limited uniqueness that we can find beauty, joy, and happiness. Also, there's always baseball, and baseball is eternal.
As is cake.
As is cake.
Cake.
Mm-hmm.
Cake. Drac, you take Questors, please.
Questor wrote, "I wish the ending were different. And I know it sounds like a complaint, but it's really because I love the series and I want great things for it. I will forever be annoyed that they canceled the show after production finished, but at least they got to do an ending of sorts, even if it wasn't the one they probably would have liked to do. Schedule issues aside, I wish we could have had a final group shot of the crew who we have gone through this whole series with. Overall, after a rocky start to season 1, which took me probably 3 tries to get through, Discovery has turned into one of my favorite Trek series. It gave us Ensign Mount as Spike and introduced my favorite character from old Trek in Sylvia Tilly. The shot of her blowing the hair out of her face in episode 9 is just so perfect. I will miss you, Discovery, but I will be forever grateful for you bringing Trek back to our screens."
That was lovely. And Tara texted me ahead of time because she's partying with Chris that she would be getting the limerick in late. So I will take us home with Tara's mailbag, to which she wrote, "I only had a limerick, but I want to chime in on the episode in general and somehow ended up with pros and cons in limerick form. Do what you will with them as I am late. Pros. Michael and Book got a storybook happy ending. Saru and Tarina get a destination wedding. Tilly set up for more. There was no Hugh's death. Encore. Ooh, thank God. Talk about a fandom that would erupt. And Disco's moves were mind-bending. Cons. Too much fighting between Michael and Moll. Another blowing up of plasma like that's a curveball. The not getting safe distance and Kovich's decor equals fan service persistence. But where was Voyager, y'all? And now the official limerick, 510, life itself. The progenitors have been waiting in this event horizon of creating. Michael is the one to choose what must be done. Founder blood, family is everything. Oh, well, I don't know a better way to end than that. Y'all, it has been a pleasure covering this series with you guys from season 3 and beyond. I can't wait to do more. I don't want to do another series finale in a few months with Lower's Decks, but we're going to have to. We have been going for a really long time. So we are going to take a couple of weeks off because we have earned it and we deserve it.
I said 3 hours. I said it.
You did. It's going to be just under 3 hours by the time I'm done editing. I do want to announce what our next episode is going to be because they don't know it yet.
I don't either.
Our first, no one knows it. I haven't told anybody, but I think everybody's going to be really excited. So I've never seen the USS Callister episode of Black Mirror.
So good.
So
my God, yes.
First episode back in 2 weeks will be a review and deep dive of the USS Callister episode of Black Mirror.
Yes.
They're making a TV show of that.
I know, and I can't wait. So that's exciting. Everybody just got so excited. I'm so glad that worked out the way.
It's so good.
You have to record your reaction.
I will.
Yes, the whole time. Just stream it.
Just stream it. Okay.
Yeah.
Like,
I'll do it. I can't wait to do that all with you because I've been dying to watch that. That's it, man. That's a wrap on Star Trek. Everybody's dancing. I made everybody happy at the series.
It's so good, man.
We did it because it's sad. Goodbye, disco. We love you.
Disco. We love you. This is
And I need to wake up.
And she needs to wake up. So with that being said, we will see you. Yeah, go ahead.
Instead of saying Majram, we have to say Kwakoni Yikwan.
Okay.
Because that's what Buck said at the end of last season. And we have parted 100 times. May we rejoin to part 100 more. And that's what we want to do with Disco, isn't it?
It is. That was beautiful.
Draft's done.
Draft's going to cry now. So, there it is. I can't reach mine. It's all the way over there. I'll just do this. For MC, for Eric, for Hawk, for Draft, I'm Julian. Kwakoni Yikwan, we love you. We'll see you later. Good night.
Thanks for beaming into our podcast today. If you want to keep the hailing frequencies open, you can subscribe on Apple and Google Podcasts, YouTube, and Spotify. Like what you hear? Put in a good word with Starfleet and leave us a 5-star review.